What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, September 17th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Our producer, Jose Bouquett, is, who knows? Who knows? Maybe he's drunk in a ditch somewhere, and he deserves to be, because the power of the mustache is coming off the best night of his season, 3-0 plus 5.70 units. He cashed all those bets while watching live with Slaughter and Big Show at Globe Life Field. Carlos Correa, home run, plus 370. No runs first inning, cashed. And Astros team total over 2.5. Now, he did have to change and add those last two bets after his first, the Valdez prop. And the first 5 under 4.5 was voided with the pitching change. But Jose, wherever you are, whatever ditch you're lying in right now, congratulations. And understand that the only reason you cashed those bets last night was because of your mustache. May it grow beautiful. May it shine. And may you continue to find glory wherever you are, Jose. Remember, it was the stash and the stash alone. I did not have a glorious night. I could have had it. It was right there for me. I went into the final two spots on my card, 2 and 2. Cubs first 5 plus 130. Up 7-0 in the third inning. Probably a good chance I cashed that. But no, it fucking pushes. And then, of course, the Ragin Cajuns going into a no-huddle offense with 2 minutes left, up 42-14, sitting with another 56.5. Of course, that's going to cash. So a little angry, sure, a little angry, but very happy to be here. We have an absolutely packed card. We got to get into this card as soon as possible. I will try not to talk too fast. Take a deep breath, slow myself down. Nolly Knows is joining us for the last 4 games on the baseball card. So we're not going to go quite in chronological order because we have Nolly Knows who's going to come with college football looks as well. So last 4 games on the card will be college, or Nolly Knows joining us for MLB. Then we'll roll into college football, and then we will close the show out with CFL. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Vitalis said, told you about the Astros game. Jose might not have a mustache today. Man, that mustache, look, come on. 3-0 plus 5.70 units was our man, Jose. Great to see you, Vitalis. Sammy Culmer in the house. Indians first 5, Phillies money line, and Dodgers Brewers a parlay for Sammy Culmer. Let me copy and paste that right now. So I got Sammy's action. God, the notes I have are ludicrous right now. Preparing for the show took many, many, many hours. This is one of the hardest preparations I've had. And it didn't matter how many hours I put in last night. There were still required many hours this morning. And I've not thrown in any baseball bets yet. The card's completely capped and ready to go, but I just haven't bet anything. What I have done is bet on the 49ers, -3 at -105. And I've also bet on the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan, -3. And that was the only -3 on the board. It had moved to -4 at Bet Online. It had been at 3.5 at Pinnacle for 24 hours or at least 18 hours. And every other book had followed suit except for Bet365. And look, if I'm going to have to believe in Cody Fajaro, Argos suck on the road. Oh, speaking of the Argos, it is also Maxwell Smart's birthday today. Maxie Smart, Cupcake King, college basketball bettor extraordinaire. Happy birthday, Maxie. I love you, buddy. Top set. Dodgers over 8.5, Brewers under 9, Yanks under 9.5, Phillies -1 are my looks for top set. Let me copy and paste that. I did give myself a 10-minute limit, and I did start late because I had to do a little bit of the production on my own with Jose, ditch drinking. in the morning. He loves ditches. This guy just loves ditches. And who doesn't? If you live in a warm climate. Evan L. in the house. Henry Dice says, thoughts on Jays Brewers moneyline parlay. We'll break it all down. There's Viper in the house. Maddie Ice ready to get to work. Chris Drobny. Helpful Honda. Michael Valina says the Cubs are a legit disgrace and the Reds just, wow, shame on them. I should have trusted the numbers on Colton, and then we would have catched the first 5 easy because we expected Molly to be his predictable self, and he was. With that kind of predictability, how did I not cash that? How did I lose money on that bet? It's frustrating, but it was just poor gambling. It was just poor betting. Serious business in the house. J-Dub, Birdie, Nutflush, Allen, and Taint is in. I repeat, Taint is in. Brewers run line minus 120. Taint is in. Let me get that here in my, pages and pages of notes. The Brewers game. Show your face. Show your hideous face. That's what someone's saying to old ditch diver Jose right now. There we go, 8:10 p.m. Now, that's interesting. So that is actually a spot that Nolly Knows is attacking. So that would be our second to last breakdown. But it's here and it's up. Taint is here, baby. Taint. What's that? Taint? Viper in the house. His Astros easy money last night. Add a boy. Larry Garr ready to go. Cubs minus 2.5 plus 138. Brew Crew minus 2.5 plus 138. Cubs give up a 7-run lead last night. Travel. Davies on the bump. Brewers are rested and at home. Larry Garr taking the Taint to another level. Michael Irvine shouting out Jose with the giant day. Yes, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Nate Dogg. There is Red Girl in the house coming off a 5-2 night. Great work, Red Girl. Lit picks here, and here we go. TJ. San Francisco, first 5 minus a half and minus 115. So let's just get this here. So Larry Garr is taking Taint heavy and hard, minus 2.5. Let's get that Larry Garr's trust in Taint. Let's get that right above the Taint play of the day. Here we go. Larry is in. And then we have our guy TJ with his TJ play of the day. San Francisco first 5 minus a half and minus 115. And that will be the final game of the MLB breakdowns. And I'm going to be quick. I gotta be quick here. Mark Schillingberg says, I had the Cubs first 5 money line looking great at 17. I know. David Summers says, is Jimmy hungover? No. You know what? When I'm hungover, I'm actually at my best. So, no, I did not drink last night. I was, grinding. All right. Slatsy 45 in the house. Jays minus 1.5 plus 120 and the over. Okay. On Phillies with Wheeler. Walker winless in last 9. Interesting, Slatsy. Very, very interesting. I can't put him above the individual games right now because I'm stuck for time. So I'll just put that under Sammy Comer, top set, and I'll put that right there. All right, Kevin's ready to go. Puzzler in the house. Maxwell Smart. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. Birdie says Jose's a beast. Red, where he said strangers were coming up to him. Was he kidnapped in a sex trade? Either way, he is smiling this morning. Smiling in a ditch, in a good old Texas ditch. Maybe you'll see old W there. Okay, let's go. TJ says, how do you bet no run first inning and first 5 team total over? It's so funny because I was not questioning it, but I was just writing. I was going to write, and I'd written half of it because it doesn't correlate. But then I thought, look, he's got a plan. And he understands it doesn't correlate. It's not like I'm giving him new information. So I deleted it and didn't send it. And Correa And I mean, Correa hits homer in the second at bat is too good. All right, Sox, Bulls, Bears ready to go. Tyrone Coleman ready to eat. Michael Irvelina. Craig says Cubs wrecked me last night. Oh God, I hate it. Okay, we got to get to work. Shout out to all. Okay. Yes, Kevin. It's not difficult to be Parkdale's finest. I don't know if you've walked around here, but in the 10 plus years that I've lived here, and that's including bouncing for a couple of years down to Costa Rica, I've never been aroused by a woman on the streets of Parkdale in my entire life. 0 times. I have seen 0 attractive women in the neighborhood. 0. Okay. Joey Harb ready to go. Says, let's go Niners. Okay. Birthday love going out to Max. Dad Fenson got to the White Sox. Slight bounce back later, but still way down. Need an excellent weekend. Okay. Well, let's get there. Andrew McKinnis in the house is worried about the Sask injuries, but this is a good get right spot after 2 tough weeks. Look, the Banjo Bowl was embarrassing. Losing a tight one on Labor Day Classic at home. The Bombers, I think, are best team in CFL. So, I mean, that'll happen. The Banjo Bowl was embarrassing. I think they bounced back. Look, we were on the Argos last week. North Ender in the house. Creel ready to go. Giovanni. Rem Most. Okay, Keon Jackson. First 5 under. Wasn't that too easy, Keon? Yankees, Orioles, we got a 5.5. I mean, that was just a very, 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 very easy. Razor in the house, Rodney Barton. All right, it's time to get to work. There's Guillermo Zertucci, Chris Drobny, David Summers. Okay, let's go. I would give more love to all the guys joining us, but we must work quickly. I'm going to try not to talk too fast. I know that is annoying when I talk too fast, but work needs to be done, and we need to move briskly because I'd like to have 11 games done in the next 45 minutes. I would like to be at noon exactly when Jose joins us. Quick review of yesterday. We lost on the Reds first 5 -1/2. That was just poor betting, really. The capping was there, but I mean, I guess the capping wasn't there because I didn't trust. Why did the why did the Blue Jays give up on this pitcher when they so desperately need help in the bullpen and he actually would be that good? That was a mistake in the capping. I guess I should have just trusted the numbers and not the idiots. Oh, idiots is a little tough, but not the brain trust of the Blue Jays. Angels, White Sox, first 5 under 4.5 at -120. I was right about everything except for Ronaldo Lopez. He was terrible, but Cobb, good enough to pitch very well for us, and that should have cashed. San Diego, San Francisco, no run first inning. That means that back-to-back days I've tailed Mr. Gokster and cashed. Thank you, Mr. Gokster. New York, Baltimore, first 5 under 5.5 was a cash. Cubs, first 5 +130 was a push. Very, very disappointing, and that puts us at 320 and 294. Again, the stats will be up if Jose was there. They'll be back up on Tuesday. Down 9.02 units, hitting at 52.1%, ROI -1.47%, and my average line -111. Just too much vig. And then we lose in college football, and on a losing streak in college football. But we started off so spectacularly well that we are sitting with the loss, so we're 0-1 down 1.10 units last night. We're 16-11, 59.3%, plus 3.65 units, ROI plus 13.52%, average line -111. All right, there is the review. Let's get to work. Mr. Nimbus in the house. Let us go, and let us roll. Oh, Taint lost a rare loss for Taint. But 53-41, 56.4%. Rusty Kuntz is hard at work in Windsor, Ontario, but he'll be here on Sunday mornings, and his heart's with us. So he sticks at 22-23. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day was lost. That was with the Royals. So 21-16 at 56.8%. And now the Say Hey play of the day is 39-37, hitting at 51.3%, plus 4.13 units, an ROI plus 5.43%, an average line of plus 104, and is at the high watermark of his season. All right. Creo, how important line movement is, what stats matter, and which ones don't. Yeah, Creo, that's everything, right? And that's what we try to do here as well. All right, let's get to work. Walla Walla Dos, whenever I'm on the grind, working, ridiculous hours, I let go of everything else. We start at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Indians at New York Yankees. The Tribe 71-73, 35-37 on the road at the Yankees. 82-65, 41-31 at home. We're at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, baby. 73 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 7 miles per hour in. Zach Plesac, 10-5, 4.45 ERA, 1.16 WHIP, 125 in the third, 88 Ks, 29 walks, 20 home runs. Ski Prophet says now Jimmy has to grow a mustache. I'm telling you what, when I was thinking about how I bet that Reds game poorly with the statistical breakdowns that we gave out, I thought Ski would have bet that right. And I know I had an angry face. I wasn't like, that asshole Ski would have bet that right. I wasn't like that. I was like, Ski would have bet that. My friend Ski would have bet that right. I was thinking I was the asshole. I was beating myself up. There was no undertones of angry jealousy towards you, Ski. I love you, buddy. Okay. Last start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, no homers, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and a 3-0 loss at home for Zach Plesac, who's had a good season. Again, if I don't mention the home and road stats, then I don't feel like there's a reason to. There's not a big enough difference. So you'll know that when I don't mention it, it's because of that. When I mention it, I believe that there is a difference, like Corey Kluber. Now, I know with Kluber, we only have 65 innings of sample size, but that's enough for me. 1-2, 2.79 ERA, 206 opponent's batting average at home. He's been very good at home, and he's at home here against his former ball club. On the road, 3-1, 5 ERA, 250 opponent's batting average. On the year, 4-3, 4.02 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Robert Cherry says, I say Kluber airs out against his old team, throws 7 Ks, 6 innings, maybe 2 earned runs. Mr. Nimbus, though, says Kluber will get punished. Henry Dice on the first 5, under 5 for the Yankees. Oh, is it C-Mac's birthday too? Oh my goodness, really? That's incredible. Sorry, I did not know that. Look at that, look at that. Sorry, Maxie and C-Mac, both celebrating birthdays today. Respect. Steven Sang says Jimmy needs to grow more hair on his chest. You know where I don't need to grow more hair, Steven Sang, is on my taint. And if you were closer to me right now, Steven Sang, you would get a really nice whiff of that little flap of skin and the hair that grows on it. And then I would hold the back of your head and force it into my taint. And I wouldn't let you move. You'd stop breathing. Your hands would be flailing. And I'd wait till that half second right before you died. And I would just drop you on the ground. Then I would take a large glass of Mexican tap water. And then I would stand over you while you have just the tiniest bit of life left. And then let your imagination run wild. Okay. Let's get back to work here. Indians versus righties, 236, 686 OPS. Yankees versus righties, 231, 750 OPS. Last 30 days. Indians bullpen over the last 30 days been quite good. And they fell off for a little while. They've come back, 3.79 ERA. Yankees bullpen, 3.93 ERA over the last 30 days. Okay, let's move into the baseball data here. And move over here. Here we go. Zach Plesac, 167, 633 OPS against these Yankees hitters. And only Austin Hedges has seen Corey Kluber, but we know that he's seen a bunch of these guys from his time in Cleveland. Just hasn't faced them in an actual game. Let's move over to the market moves here. And we have, let's move over to the money lines and totals here. We go. Yankees open up at -190. They're now at -185, and this total goes from 9.5 down to 9. 9.5 down to 9. Let's move over to the cash flow and see if that makes sense. We have 3,354 tickets in. 62% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the Yankees, and the 5-cent move towards the Indians. Very, very, very interesting. Then we have 69% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on the over. And you could assume that money came in once it went to 9. But I have to gather that what they're saying from this is that the Indians are alive here. Mr. Nimbus says New York just not a good team. Cleveland has a better starting pitching. Kluber has nothing left, says Mr. Nimbus. Very, very interesting. By judging where the cash lies, the market moving towards the Cleveland Indians, all this money coming in on the Yankees, it has to make you think that the Indians are live. If you think that the Indians are live, which they just might be, Kluber's last start was not good. It was at the Mets. It was not good. Then we can back Plesac. So TJ says Plesac's advanced numbers last 30 days say he's due to get hit, but I'll trust the market here. Anytime the market goes away from the Yankees with the money on the Yankees, my ears perk. I agree, TJ, but I think that it would be responsible for us to wait. The Yankees cash has got to come flying in soon. Mr. Nimbus says, please bet Cleveland first 5. Ron Lofton giving us a look at women's tennis. I imagine that her name is pronounced risque. I imagine that. TJ says, trust everything you are saying, Jimmy, and bet Cleveland. Yeah, I think that's what makes sense here. I think that makes sense here. But I do think that we're going to get a better line, that this reverse line movement won't continue throughout the day, that the Yankees' money has to come. So I mean, how would it not come with Kluber on the mound? I think we're going to get a better line with the Indians if we wait. Topset says, no, Jimmy, Indians bats are smoked, broke, and not to be trusted. Well, then you'd have to bet the first 5 under, right? The full game under has gone from 9.5 to 9. What has the first 5 done? The first 5 has gone from 5.5 to 5. So we missed the 5.5. How could I have caught that 5.5? Let's see here. Wow. Look at this. I couldn't have caught the 5.5. In fact, at Pinnacle went from 5.5 to 5 down to 4.5 at 8:34 p.m. and then back to 5. If you feel that way, and let's see if the weather also helps us here, 7 miles per hour in, then both the Indians' first 5 and the first 5 under should be in play. And the only thing that doesn't correlate with that is the fact that so much money has been already bet on the over. And again, did that money come in when it went to 9 and not 9.5? Okay, we've talked about this game for too long. Let's keep rolling. Okay. We move on. Next up on the docket is 7:05 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Rockies at Washington Nationals. I would have bet the Rockies this morning. I would have bet them. I probably should have bet them last night, but I was capping college football and CFL. And thank God I didn't, maybe, because I could not understand this market move to Josiah Gray for the life of me. I mean, wouldn't you think that Herman Marquez, you have a huge advantage on the bump? 76 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour in. And yeah, the Rockies are terrible on the road, but they've been better of late, 23-51. And the Nationals, 16, 86, 34, and 41. Viper says Tool's gone over in 17 of Washington's last 22 games at home. And look, I've just decided I'm going to talk fast. We have so much to get through, and I want to get to Nolly with time so we can take a breath then. Last start for Marquez, 6 innings, 6 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and 11-2 win up at the Phillies. At home, 8-2, 3.16 ERA, 2.02 opponent's batting average. On the road, 4-8, 4.93 ERA, 2.69 opponent's batting average. So yeah, he's got the bad home road splits, but we've seen him improve on the road. He's simply been better on the road of late, and so has Senzatella and so is Gray. I mean, these Rockies pitchers who are always better or who have been better at home this year than on the road are pitching better on the road. Josiah Gray has got the shit pushed in the last 3 starts, especially the last one, 5 innings, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 6 walks, 4 Ks, and 10-7 loss at the Pirates. I don't have his game log in front of me, but I believe it was 5 earned runs in this past start and then 6 earned runs in the 2 starts before that. He's not pitching well. Rockies versus righties, 236, 741 OPS last 30 days. Nats versus righties, 242, 742 OPS. And the Rockies bullpen's been so much better than the Nats bullpen. So why would we not be all over the Rockies today? Well, I'll tell you why, and let's see if it's changed since then. First off, how could Marquez be at minus 115 against Josiah Gray with the way Gray's pitching? And then full game, there's been a 7-cent move to the Rockies. When I was on Sports Insights earlier, they said that there was like a 92% chance that the Nats would go to plus 100. How? How could this be happening? This total's gone from 8.5 to 9. So then let's move over to the odds. Now we have just 1,147 tickets in, so not a lot to base any judgment on, but 42% of the tickets and 68% of the cash is on the Washington National. Something happened upstairs. Let's pretend it didn't. 71% of the tickets on the under and 43% of the cash. So we see all this sharp money on the Washington Nationals and on the over. For the life of me, I mean, what? So with all that information in, does baseball data change anything? Against Marquez, they're 3 for 38. Now, 2 of those 3 are home runs, but they're hitting 0.79 with a 430 OPS. Against Gray, 300 with a 1.100 OPS. So at this point, you have to ask yourself, do you let the market take you off of this bet? Brian Watson thanking Vitalis for the info. I love our guy Vitalis. I'd love to see what he dropped here. Sorry, running everything on my own here right now today. Ramos is another homicide Bartel. Okay, and TJ says, like I said, guys, pay attention. Marquez is out of his natural rhythm. So it's a big advantage on the mound, yes, but Marquez has prepped for the Braves, and it gets postponed, and he has to go to Washington and pitch. Usually the starter gets there a day early. So look, I've not had a great baseball season. If you deal with the minus 110 line, you have to hit over 52.1%, which is what I'm hitting to profit long term. But what I have done is let the market take me off of spots, and I simply have to let the market do it here. Now, look, I could be wrong here, but clearly there's sharp money coming in on the Nationals. And why would I say, oh, these pros are idiots? So Craig says Marquez not pitching quite as well since the All-Star break, but I trust him tonight. It's just crazy. This is just crazy. I'll be watching this game closely. Spreadsheet play is in. Dodgers minus 165. Dodgers at minus 165 for Ron Crawford. The spreadsheet play of the day is in. Gregorio Ruiz says, I've been putting money on the Dodgers around 3 weeks. That game's going to be broken down here. No, this is the first spot on Nolly Knows' card. So it's the first spot on Nolly Knows' card. He'll be joining us here, probably around 30 minutes from now. Okay, so let's go. We're going to keep rolling along. Craig, I can understand the thought process, but something's up, man. And I would prefer just to stay off. We move on to 7:07 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Twins at Toronto Blue Jays. Look, there's been a lot of talk about the Blue Jays pulling the brooms out on these Twinkies. There's pressure on them here. Let's go. Taylor MacArthur, our guy T-Mac, says, why is the Miami total so low? We're going to get to that very quickly. Twinkies, Blue Jays, Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario, 71 Fahrenheit, clear, 7 miles per hour out to left center. Michael Pineda on the hill, 6-8, 3.87 ERA, 1.22 whip, 93 innings, 79 Ks, 18 walks, 15 home runs. Last start, he went 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, no walks, 3 Ks, and 9-2 win at the Royals. Hyun-Jin Ryu on the other side, coming off a disastrous start at the Orioles in a 7-inning doubleheader. The Jays came back and won 11-10, but he only made it through 2 1/3, allowed 8 hits, 7 earned runs, and 2 homers. Big Drew shouting us out from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Respect, Big Drew. I love your city, and thank you for joining us. Ryu, 13-8, 4.11 ERA, 1.19 whip, 157 2/3, 131 Ks, 34 walks, 20 home runs. Puzzler said, I just took Colorado first 5 over 4.5. minus 105. Might be a very smart play, Puzzler. Nate Dogg says Jays sweep Minnesota. Topset says I like the Twins first 5, and the spreadsheet play of the day 2 is in. It is the Seattle Mariners. So let me just make sure that I've got that copied and pasted here above the Mariners game. That's at 8:10 p.m. at Kauffman Stadium. Mariners spreadsheet play of the day 2. Keon Jackson liking Puzzler's plan there with the market move, expecting Marquez not to be dominant, and Josiah Gray to just, even if he's better, he's going to allow 3 runs in 5 innings. Okay, Pineda, Ryu. Ryu at home has been worse than he's been on the road this year. 6-4, 4.46 ERA, 260 opponent's batting average. On the road, 7-4, 3.78 ERA, 244 opponent's batting average. TJ said, Jimmy, I've been tracking when you stay off a pick because of the market in the last 2 weeks. Had you bet with the market, you would be hitting 65%. Wow. Did not track the line, so that's yeah, no worries. You don't need to. Wow. That has to be the next level of my growth as a capper, doesn't it? To trust what we're seeing instead of just, that has to be. Wow. That's food for thought, TJ. Thank you for taking the time to track that. Earl Sports Bets says bold take, St. Louis sweeps San Diego this weekend from Earl Sports Bets. And Keon Jackson said Gray will be out by the 4th inning. Okay, so the Twins bullpen has been quite a bit better than the Jays bullpen over the last 30 days. The problem is that Twins are hitting .214 with a .638 OPS over the last 30 days versus lefties. They're not hitting lefties at all, and the Jays are destroying righties. Now, Pineda is a boss. He walks on the mound like a boss. He demands respect immediately. He's just, he's not somebody that you'd mess with. But the Jays are hitting .273, 828 OPS versus righties. Let's take a look at the market movement here. And maybe we should do pitcher batter first. Against Pineda, the Jays smash him. Smash him. George Springer is 10 for 22 with 3 doubles and 3 jacks off him. The team is 30 for 72 with 8 homers against him. 417 with a 1.273 OPS. Look, it's not the Jays. I mean, well, they're Jays now, but it's Jake Lamb, George Springer, and Corey Dickerson who've done all the damage against Pineda when they were on a different team. The Jays have done nothing against Pineda. Our team over the last few years. Look, Grichuk is 2 for 5 with a homer. He's the only one with a homer. Dyson 4 for 10. Simeon 3 for 8. Teoscar 0 for 2. And our young superstars haven't seen him. So that's interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. Well, let's take a look at what the market has done here. The Jays open up at minus 200. They're now minus 218, an 18-cent move towards them. This total has gone from 9 to 9.5. It feels like the spot that Ryu can get right against a team that doesn't hit lefties. And then who knows what this Jays offense could do to Pineda if the 3 players that we brought to the team, and, Grichuk isn't even been with the Jays for that long, smash Pineda. And then we have Ryu, who needs to get right. Now, the Orioles versus lefties the last 30 days are 253, 743 OPS. I think that's an important reference point because they smashed Ryu last time out. But now he comes home where he hasn't been very good. Pineda gets smashed. This total's gone from 9 to 9.5. So if we go to first 5, because the Twins bullpen's been very good. It's gone from 4.5 to 5. Could you have bet that 4.5 had you figured this out earlier? I couldn't have because it moved last night at Pinnacle. I think that first 5 overs live. But the issue is, what if Ryu shuts him down? Then you got to focus on the Blue Jays' first 5 team total over. So what are the mixed messages here? The mixed message, what doesn't correlate? What doesn't correlate is how bad Ryu is being of late and how he's not being very good at home. But this has to be a get-right spot for him. And we know what the Jays can do against Pineda, and Topset doesn't buy any of it. He says Jays team total under. Birdie says, are the Jays still looking at winning the division? I think they are. They have a very weak schedule. They have to take these games seriously. No, I think they're looking at just guaranteeing that first wild card spot, personally. But, are they within range of the Rays? The Rays are 91-56. The Jays are 82-64. So, no, there's not enough games left. I mean, what are the Jays' first five? I don't want to be sitting here. We don't have time for this. I need to make decisions and go with them. And it's probably too juiced. Minus 135 for the Jays, minus a half. I would like to move on the first five over, but I don't want the Jays to have to do all the legwork. And, Bet365 doesn't offer the first five team total overs. Why? Because gamblers cash. Gamblers win on first five team total overs. They lose on them, so they don't let you bet them. And then you don't want to take the Jays full game team total over because the Twins bullpen is being not saying you don't want to, but it's not nearly as appealing as the first five because of the success of the Twins bullpen. So what it comes down to is I can't do anything. I can't do anything because what if Ryu does step up? Certainly feels like Pineda is going to get touched. I mean, the only thing I could do is the first five over five. But what if it's 4-0 or 3-1 after five? Okay, I don't think I'm going to do anything at this point, and I'm not going to leave a question mark here. It's a Jays game, so obviously I'll be thinking about it all throughout the afternoon. So, Sabino Anguano in the house, thank you for joining us, my man. We move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore Orioles at Boston Red Sox, 83-65, 44-29 at home are the Boston Red Sox, Fenway Park in Boston. And the Orioles are 24-48 on the road, 65 Fahrenheit, overcast, 6 miles per hour in. Have we had Chris Sale confirmed as the starter? Is Chris Sale confirmed as the starter? Can anybody? I don't know if he's confirmed as a starter. Let's see. Does Bet365 have this up here? Oh, you got to be kidding me! What the? Sorry, something just scared the shit out of me here. Okay, no, sorry. Okay. By the way, nothing's changed with the Roughriders. They're still a 3. Okay, let's move over to. So no, it can't have been confirmed, but we all expect Chris Sale to be on the bump today, right? Thank you, Slatsy. Please do that as much as possible because we just don't have time at all. So I expect Sale to be on the mound. Let's just cap the game as if Sale's going to be on the mound. We were told that he was going to start Friday, but Keegan Aiken on the other side, 2-9, 6.83 ERA, 1.58 WHIP, 85 2/3, 76 Ks, 36 walks, 16 home runs, 65 Fahrenheit, overcast, 6 miles per hour in. In Keegan Aiken's last start, 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and 11-2 loss in a 7-inning doubleheader. But he pitched well, and he's starting to string together some okay starts like he did early in the year. At home, he's been much better than he's been on the road. At home, 1-4, 5.98 ERA, 266 opponents batting average. On the road, 1-5, 7.60 ERA, 308 opponents batting average. Vital says Keegan Aiken will pitch the majority of innings for the Baltimore Orioles. Says once your book releases it, take the team total over or Red Sox first 5 -1. Yes, Sale is on my book. So yes, Sale is expected to be pitching here. Sale's last start. So this is Sale's situation, right? So he was on the mound September 6th in an 11-10 extra innings loss to the Tampa Bay Rays, and he didn't pitch well. He went 3 2/3. It was his first time he got lit up, but there was some bad fielding behind him. But he did allow 10 hits and 5 runs, but only 1 was earned. No homers, 1 walk, 6 Ks in an 11-10 loss. And we've seen Sale do that before when he has to deal with adversity that's not his not created by him. He seems to not handle that well. He seems to buckle a little bit in those situations. And as I said, the Orioles are hitting lefties, 253, 743 OPS. The Red Sox are not, 231, 687 OPS last 30 days. But then he's preparing to pitch for Sunday's game against the White Sox, and he tests positive for COVID. He's asymptomatic. He's been quarantined at home, but he's very hard to trust. Very hard to trust. These guys who have been quarantining at home, how can he possibly be in any kind of a rhythm? The Red Sox aren't hitting lefties either. I don't see how in the world, personally, and Vitalis has done a great job focusing on who to fade in first fives. But the way I see this with Chris Sale, Christopher Reese, Pete joins us every Tuesday. Right now, he's in a treehouse in Brooklyn. When I see Sale out of his rhythm and the Red Sox not hitting lefties, there's no way I would touch the Red Sox. And Keegan Aiken's been pitching better. So, let's just see what the market's done here. Because in all honesty, at this number, at minus 334, minus 328, minus 313 on the full game, I would have interest just fading Sale. And I know that just sounds absolutely ludicrous, but I do, Francis. I do like the Roughriders minus 3, and Bet365 is the only book you can get them at 3. So, did Sale need the break? I don't know. So we're not going to get markets here because there's going to be no tickets in. But I can tell you that the line predictor has the Orioles going down to plus 272. So, all right. Okay, so let's move on. Yes, Andrew. Yes, he did live in Costa Rica. Pistol Pete Loshak. It was great having him down there. Okay, so I honestly would. I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw over it, but I do have some interest in the Orioles first 5. My pleasure, Christopher Reese. Every Tuesday, he's here with us, and he's coming off a giant Tuesday, by the way. He was excellent. So we move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Detroit and Red Girl did take the Rockies money line. Red Girl with no fear over what that market was telling us, and I respect that. Detroit Tigers at Tampa Bay Rays next up. Tigers 70-77, 31-41 on the road. Rays 91-56, 46-26 at home. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Casey Mize on the hill going up against Luis Patino. Casey Mize is having a really good season, but he's on an innings limit, and it's messed with his head. And his last 2 starts have been 2 innings and 3 innings. Casey Mize is 7-8 with a 3.66 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, 140 in a third, 108 Ks, 40 walks, 23 home runs. Last start, 2 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers. Nate Dogg, it's just because of Chris Sale. That's the only reason why it's not on the board available to bet. Just because they don't know if Chris Sale is going to be. There's no, I guess, even though we think there's been some confirmations, but that's the only reason. They don't want to put a minus 300 spot where if you take the Orioles and you take action, then Sale gets moved, and then, obviously you get arbitrage. So, okay, let's keep rolling. 2 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks, 7-2 loss at home versus the Rays. It's too bad. And he's been so good on the road this year, too. 4-3, 3.36 ERA, 220 opponent's batting average. Luis Patino did not look good in his last start. He's been coming back to earth. Last start, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 3 Ks. It was an 8-7 loss at the Tigers in extra innings. Neither team is hitting righties very hard right now. Tigers 239 with a 721 OPS. Rays 238 with a 731 OPS. Sharon, what's happening, my man? Great to see you. Tigers bullpen last 30 days, 4.11 ERA. And the Rays bullpen hasn't been that dominant bullpen of the past. Just a 3.88 ERA for them. Let's go over to the baseball data. And we should have done that for Sale, by the way. And, we don't, because it's not up there. That's why I didn't do it. And against Keegan Aiken, the Red Sox rake against him. 361 with a 994 OPS. Might be just a terrible decision to have anything to do with that. Okay, Casey Mize, maybe I should just say Sale's not worth it at that price and just leave it alone. But whatever. Against Casey Mize here, 364, 1.194 OPS against him. With Luis Patino, 263, 807 OPS against him. We move over to the market moves here. The Rays open up at minus 185, a legit 27-cent move, now minus 212 at Pinnacle. This total at 8.5 has come down 2 cents. So it's very same as the opener. And then we look at the actual cash flow in this spot, 1,059 tickets in. They're confident that the market's moving slightly towards Detroit, that the Tigers will go down to plus 180. But here we go, 73% of the money line tickets on the Rays and 98% of the cash. 57% of the tickets on the over and 48% of the cash. So there's a thought about the under. And then the question is, can you trust, I guess I don't trust Patino that much, but it's going to be this Tigers bullpen that's going to have to go to work against the Rays, who need wins right now. Henry Dice says Tigers money line. I would, if Casey Mize was going to go 6 innings, I would like to take Tigers first 5. They play good against good teams. And Matty Ice gave us all that information. I think right now the Rays -1 is just because they're going to attack that bullpen is an interesting look. That I guess it's just going to be too costly. I guess it's just too costly at this point. Let's just take a look at it, what it is exactly right now. -220 and -115. Yeah, it's too expensive. Too expensive. Okay, let's keep rolling. Next up, 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Pittsburgh Pirates at Miami Marlins. The Pirates are 54-92, 20-51 on the road. Marlins are 62-84, 38-34 at home. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. The roof is expected to be closed. Will Crowe on the hill. He's been so bad on the road this year. I mean, he's been bad everywhere. 3-7, 5.97 ERA, 1.62 WHIP, 101 innings, 50 walks. 114 Ks, 23. I don't think he has. I think that's hits there. I don't. What I do know is he's got a 1.62 WHIP and 5.97 ERA. Last start, and Matty Ice says Rays or nothing, guys. And Matty Ice knows this Tigers team, knows them well, knows them inside and out. I agree, Matty Ice. I think this is a spot where Mize only goes 2 or 3 innings again, and the Rays take it out on the bullpen. I really do. Okay, so let's do this here. Eliezer Hernandez is a pitcher I like to back. I think he's got a very bright future. His last start wasn't great. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks, 6-4 win at the Braves. But this could be a real nice get-right spot for him. The problem is you don't want to trust this Marlins offense at all. 224, 628 OPS versus righties last 30 days. Pirates 223, 646 OPS over the last 30 days. Pirates bullpen has been pitching better, 3.97 ERA over the last 30. Marlins bullpen has turned it around finally after looking so bad there for about 6 weeks, about 8 weeks. T-Max says, I don't get the low line. Should be 8.5 at least. Topset says, got a tip. Fade the Pirates in game and series. Marlins want this game. TJ says, Miami or under here, but we can't bet the under with Crow. These teams cannot hit. And there's Turnsey in the house. What a guy. Great to see you, Turnsey. So let's move here. And great call on the Giants first half team total over. That was beautiful in Thursday Night Football, Turnsey. Okay, so we move to the market here in the Marlins-Pittsburgh game. It opened up at 8 to the under. There's been a 5-cent move to the under, and there's been a 12-cent move to the Marlins. God, the Marlins lineup is so bad. Let's just look at the baseball data. I would love to see it. T-Mac, I'm the opposite. These offenses are so bad. Just got to be a get-right spot for Crow. Against Crow, they're 1 for 6 against them, these guys. Look how weak they are. Against Eliezer Hernandez, these Pirates get to him. 9 for 23, 391 average. So I guess it comes down to this. Look, I can understand, we have an enormously huge card to pick from. Do I want the Marlins as this big of a favorite? I don't. I just don't. TJ says I'm playing the Pirates team total under, probably full game under. Luke Murphy, what's happening, my man? Thank you for joining the show. Between meetings, esteemed author Luke Murphy in the house. Okay, so here we go. We have 2017 tickets in. All we know is that 74% of the tickets, the cash isn't up yet. 74% of the tickets are on the over, so they're with you on that, T-Mac. And then 71% of the tickets, 77% of the cash are on the Marlins with Eliezer at home. I didn't post his home road stats, so it must not be too big of a difference. But God, it does feel like a Marlins spot, doesn't it? T-Max says, I feel the Pirates will rake. I guess I just can't take the Marlins as this big of a favorite. They are 38 and 34 at home. God, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to put Marlins -1 with some question marks beside it. Again, I locked in no baseball bets before the show started. We move on 8:05 p.m. Eastern, and we've got to move quicker because we have Nolly Knows ready to come in and drop his best bets. And I got that goal at noon, so that's 6 minutes. White Sox, Texas Rangers, Globe Life Field, roof is closed. Dylan Cease going up against Taylor Hearn. Globe Life Field, where Jose had his best night of the entire year. Alex Hills, what's happening? My man. Dylan Cease, 11-7, 4.22 ERA, 1.26 whip, 151 and a third, 202 Ks, 64 walks, and 20 home runs. Bleds W. Loshak is every Tuesday. The Loshak in the bag is every Tuesday. That one time he did a Friday was because he couldn't do the Tuesday. Cease, 2 2/3, 4 hits, 7 earned runs, 5 walks, 5 Ks in his last start. Looked bad. 9-8 extra inning loss at home versus the Red Sox. His splits are, he's very good at home. 6-2, 3.22 ERA, 203 opponents batting average. On the road, 5-5, 5.37 ERA, 245 opponents batting average. Is this a bounce back spot for him? This rotation needs him desperately, especially with Ronaldo Lopez taking it in the prison pocket last night. Taylor Hearn, 6-4, 3.99 ERA, 1.24 whip, 90 and a third, 83 Ks, 34 walks, 17 home runs. His last start was a 4-3 win at the A's. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, no walks, 2 Ks. But the White Sox are back to their old tricks. They're smashing lefties again. 288 with an 825 OPS. Edward Solano, Big E. My guy in Costa Rica. I miss you too, my man. Great to see you in the chat, my guy. Rangers versus righties, 267, 740 OPS, which is a vast improvement as to what they were doing before then. White Sox bullpen 3.98 ERA. Rangers bullpen 3.87 ERA. Those are both last 30-day stats. All right, let's move over to the baseball data with Hearn and Cease. Against Cease, they're hitting 200, but with a 773 OPS. So they're 4 for 20, but 2 of those 4 hits are jacks. And only 2 batters have seen Taylor Hearn. And we know that they smash lefties. So we know they smash lefties. We know that Cease is vulnerable here, but it is a pitcher's ballpark, so we don't want to get too carried away with an over. Let's take a look at what the market has done in this White Sox Rangers spot. This total opened up at 9, and it has moved to 8.5 at a bunch of books, Bet365 included. I wish I could have beaten that. I guess it's just I guess this is where offenses just go to die. The White Sox open up at -170. They're now -190, a 20-cent move there. The market is moving it to the under in this ballpark, which I guess makes sense, even though these numbers make you think that there's going to be offense in this game. And maybe this is just red flags written all over it. 2,521 tickets in, 60% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the White Sox, expecting Cease to have a bounce back and the lefties, and Hearn to get touched. And then you have 62% of the tickets and 76% of cash on the under. Brian Watson says, does Pete have heating and air conditioning in the treehouse? No, the squirrels took it away. I guess he was late on rent or something, but the squirrels fucked him up, scratched him up, took out the AC unit. Topset says, don't trust Sox to string wins with the way they're playing. Yeah, I don't want Cease here. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't want him on the road. So I'm going to move past this spot, Next up, 8:10 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Diamondbacks at Houston Astros. We got Mr. in the house. Thank you for joining us. Diamondbacks, 47-99, 19-56 on the road at the Astros, 86-60, 45-27 at home. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. The roof is expected to be closed. Madison Bumgarner on the bump against Brandon Belak. Bumgarner 7-10. Puzzler says Hearn hasn't given up more than 2 runs at home since late June. Wow. That's a very interesting stat, Puzzler. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, Bummy. 6 innings last out, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 homers, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and a 5-4 loss to the Mariners. Belak and his home road splits, there's Very little difference. Belak 3-3, 4.47 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 37 Ks and 44 in the third with 17 walks and 5 jacks. Lucky power was happening. In Belak's last start, he went 3 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 1 K, and a 4-2 loss at home versus the Angels. The Diamondbacks aren't hitting righties at all. 218 with a 646 OPS. The Astros, though, are smashing lefties. 284, 886 OPS. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.82 ERA over the last 30 days, while the Astros bullpen 4.09 ERA over the last 30 days. Let's go to the market move here in this Bumgarner spot. The Astros open up minus 222. They're now minus 225, a 3-cent move towards them. And Bet365 has moved this to the over 9 and moved it to the 9.5. Every other book's still sitting at 9, although juiced. And Bet365 has bypassed that bullshit and moved it right away to 9.5. Expecting runs in this start. See what these Astros numbers are against Bumgarner. 267 with a 746 OPS. So they're 16 for 60, but just 4 of those hits are extra bases. Problem is 3 of those are homers, and they come off the bat of Correa and Altuve. Against Belak, 1 for 10. 1 for 10. The Astros are just smashing lefties. They're feeling good about themselves. God, it feels like the Astros would be the play here. Let's just see. The market has gone from just minus 222 to minus 225, so only a 3-cent move. So has money come in on Arizona? Let's check that out right now, because if none has, only 668 tickets in, so there's no point. So the early sample is on the Astros, but there's not much of a market. And this Astros bullpen has been middling over the last little while. Luke Murphy says Astros smash. It wouldn't shock me. Larry Gar says, is this a don't overthink it spot with Houston? The way they're hitting lefties, I mean, they're hitting 284, 886 OPS versus lefties, while the Diamondbacks are 218, 646 OPS versus righties. That's the last 30 days. I mean, I've not made many moves on this card, and I don't want to sit here with this giant favorite, but that's certainly what we see right now. And the market just starting to adjust. And again, maybe it is an Astros minus 1.5 spot. I'm going to leave that as a question mark right now. Let's keep rolling on. It's almost time for Nolly Knows. We get to spreadsheet play of the day number 2. Spreadsheet play of the day number 2. Seattle Mariners at Kansas City Royals. Mariners 78-68, 36-35 on the road. Royals are 66-80, 35-37 at home. We're at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. It's 84 Fahrenheit, clear, 5 miles per hour in. And Chris Flexen is being supported by our man Ron Crawford. This is spreadsheet play of the day 2, and it's on the Seattle Mariners. Flexen 11-6, 3.73 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, 156 and 2/3, 107 Ks, 34 walks, and 16 home runs. Last start at home to Arizona. I think he faced Arizona in back-to-back starts. It wasn't good this last one. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 4 Ks. He's 6-5, 3.09 ERA, 252 opponent's batting average at home. It's on the road where he gets hurt. 5-1, 4.54 ERA, 293 opponent's batting average. Thank you for the kind words, Dan T, my guy. Robert Cherry's on Royals first 5. Says Royals first 5 is plus money looking there. Brady Singer, a tricky guy to trust. 4-10, 4.85 ERA, 1.56 WHIP, 124 Ks and 120 and 2/3. The thing is it might be a get-right spot for both of these pitchers. The Royals have a nice batting average versus righties, 257, but just 717 OPS. The Mariners versus righties, 218, 666 OPS. Royals bullpen's been so good over the last little bit, 3.03 ERA over the last 30 days. Let's start with baseball data. And here with baseball data, these Royals have never seen Chris Flexen. Generally, that's when he's at his best. He's tricky. He's a tricky pitcher, but the more you see him, the more you can hit him. And then Singer is 3 for 24 against Brady Singer. Wow, what's the weather like here? 84 Fahrenheit, clear, 5 miles per hour in. Let's take a look at this market here. We have the Royals opening up at 9, juice to the over. It's now juice to the under, and I get it. If the cash supports this, this will be a first 5 under for me. 2,433 tickets in. We have 32% of the tickets and 47% of the cash on the Royals. But here we go. 29% of the tickets on the under, 57% of cash on the under, and I will be on the under. First 5 under. It's a 5, right? I'm just assuming it's a 5. When I say that, it's got to be a 5, right? Let's just check this out right now. First 5, it is a 4.5. God damn it. It opened at 5 and it's moved to 4.5. Fuck, I should have figured this out earlier. And it moved at 9:19 a.m. Ah, fuck. Ah, God. All right, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to take that lower number. Fuck. Okay, we move on. It's almost no. We actually only have one game left, right? Because we don't know who's pitching for the Angels. Tell me that has stayed the same. Perfect. No market. So we have one game left, and then it's time for Nolly Knows, and I'm only 4 minutes late. All right, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. San Diego Padres at St. Louis Cardinals. These Padres are 76 and 70, 32 and 39 on the road. Cardinals 76 and 69, 39 and 33 at home. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. 81 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour in. Vince Velasquez, he got dismissed. Finally dismissed by the Philadelphia Phillies. And he's a tricky ass clown to figure out. 3-6, 5.95 ERA, 1.48 WHIP in a Phillies uni. We haven't seen him since the end of July, I believe. It took him like 5 weeks to be found. And Red Girl backing Vince Velasquez in an opportunity to keep a career in the show. Miles Michaelis on the other side does not look good in 26 in the third. 18 Ks, 8 walks, 4 home runs allowed. His last start was not good. It was at home versus the Reds. The Reds got to him for 4 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 homers in 5 innings, but 1 strikeout, 1 walk, just not good enough. And he's been much better at home than he has been on the road. On the road, he got an 8.59 ERA and a 371 opponent's batting average. At home, 4.26 ERA, 232 opponent's batting average. So this might be the one spot where you trust him. It's interesting to see that Red Girl's backing Velasquez, who's trying to keep his career together here. Padres versus righties, 209, 631 OPS. Isn't it a screaming Michaelis get right spot? Wins coming in. Cardinals versus righties, 245, 713 OPS. I certainly don't want to be on the other side of Red Girl. Padres bullpen's been so bad over the last 30 days, 5.24 ERA, while the Cardinals bullpen's has 3.34 ERA over the last 30 days. Let's move over to the baseball data. Against Velasquez, 261 with an 876 OPS. These guys get to him. These guys know him from his days with the Phillies. Michaelis against these guys, 381, 1.051 OPS. Michaelis probably can't be trusted these days. See what the market has done with this. For the first 5, it's been sitting at a 5. There's been a 6-cent move to the under 5 from minus 113 to minus 119. When we go over to full game here for this Michaelis spot, the Cardinals open up at minus 142. They move to minus 119. Holy shit, a big market move towards Velasquez. Oh, my God. Velasquez. Wow. And Red Girl, I certainly am not... wild. Just 1,740 tickets in. 53% of tickets, 61% of the cash on the Cardinals, and the market move to the Padres. Then you have 30% of tickets on the under and 89% of cash on the under. So they think Michaelis bounces back against this Padres team that's not hitting. The wind's blowing in. Velasquez has a nice start. That's a lot of asks. Isn't that a lot to ask? What's this full game at? 9? This Padres bullpen's being so bad. Could they continue to be bad? Bled's on the first 5 over 5. Wow, that just throws me for a fucking loop, man. Throws me for a loop. We have Cole Irvin pitching against the Angels in 9:38 p.m. Eastern. We don't have a line. Let's not waste time on it. We got Nolly Knows prepped and ready to rock here. Angels first lefties, 233, 716 OPS. And we saw what they just did to Keuchel, squad ass fucking zilch. So Cole Irvin's not been good lately, but he was good in his last start at home. Now he gets back on the road. Last start at home, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 1 walk, 8 Ks, and an 8-6 loss at home versus the Rangers. A's bullpen's been so bad, and it's offensive weather in Los Angeles at Angel Stadium. 70 Fahrenheit clear, 8 miles per hour to straightaway center. We'll have to see who's pitching for the Angels. But T-Mac saying loving a first 5 over here. Yeah, I think just a full game over when it comes out because of that offensive weather and not trusting Cole Irvin. And okay, so there you have it. So not a lot locked in. And but the Indians first 5 and that first 5 under 5 makes a ton of sense to me. I might wait on the Indians. Let's see if there's been more market movement towards the Yankees or if that stayed the same here. No. So it's just getting worse. The Yankees are down to minus 183. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to move on those. Look, the Rockies' national situation is perplexing. Twins, Blue Jays, it just doesn't all correlate because of Ryu. But would you be surprised if Ryu has a great start? I mean, he's not been good enough at home. I do have interest in the first 5/5 here, but I'm certainly going to put a couple question marks. And Topset says take the under before you take the Indians. Then I guess the numbers the Red Sox have against Aiken should just keep me off of this. But I don't want Sale at this price. At what point do you just make a little recreational bet on the Orioles first 5? Rays -1 makes a ton of sense, but it costs too much. So it would have to be a Rays -1.5 if I want it. The Marlins -1. Look, they're a good home team. Without Jesus Aguilar in the lineup, they just got no power. But I like Eliza Hernandez a lot. I really like him. I think he's going to be a stud. All that should push me towards the -1 on the Marlins, even though you don't want a team like this at that price. But a team like this is still 38-34 at home. I do think it's the look. I do. But then we looked at Eliza's numbers against the Pirates. They're not very good, but he's a stud, and I believe in him. White Sox, Rangers. When I look at these guys, I guess Taylor Hearn at home. If the White Sox weren't raking lefties, I would back the Rangers first 5. And I guess I can't do that with the way the White Sox are hitting lefties, but there might be value there. Is it a smash and grab for the Astros against Mad Bum, who's not been looking very good lately and has another road start? Very much could be. And then the first 5 under 4.5. Am I going to take it when I could have got the 5 if I had been quicker to the I'll have to make that decision after the show. Padres, Cardinals, Velasquez, Michaelis, seeing the love. I mean, Red Girl and the Lowbaggers were all together at that game when Velasquez had an 8-1 lead in the first 5 and decided to just fucking take money out of my family's mouth. And then the over in the Angels game, I do like. Cole Irvin's not look good on the road and very offensive weather. All right, there you go. It is now time for Nolly Knows to hit the scene. The great Nolly Knows in the house. He was excellent on Wednesday. I tailed 3 of his spots. 1 got postponed and the other 2 cashed. And now we get to see his MLB. We also get to talk NCAA football and exciting news. Nolly Knows will be on our Sunday morning football show too, our NFL show. Nolly Knows will be making his first appearance there, giving us his best looks. Please welcome to the show, my guy and yours, representing Long Beach, California. Nolly Knows in the house. Nolly, what's up, my man? How are you?
Doing real good, Jimmy. Real excited to be here. It's been a crazy day already for me, but I wasn't going to miss it. I'm back here and I'm ready to go. Got some action, maybe a lot of action for some people, but I'm excited to be here once again. Hopefully some people tailed the ones that cashed last time out, and hopefully we have another good day.
Let's get right to work, Nolly. The first spot on your board, 7:10 p.m. Eastern, LA Dodgers at Cincinnati Reds. We're at Great America Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Dodgers are 94-53, 42-30 on the road. Reds 76-71, 38-33 at home, clearly scuffling at the plate. 83 Fahrenheit clear, 3 miles per hour in. Walker Buehler going up against Luis Castillo. So first off, this is the spreadsheet play of the day, number 1 from Ron Crawford. He is on the Dodgers to smash here. Shout out to Ron Crawford. Shout out to the spreadsheet play of the day. Buehler Castillo. I'll go over a bunch of stats right now, but I think it's more prudent just to let you rock and roll here. Let's just set a table for you, Nolly, in this Dodgers spot. We have, we have the Dodgers opening up at minus 166. They're now minus 160. A 6-cent move at Pinnacle towards the Reds and Luis Castillo. This total has gone from 8 to 8.5. Interesting, expecting offense. Take it away. Nolly Knows.
Yeah. This is a real big game. A lot of big games here today. You got the Dodgers sitting one game back, San Francisco Giants. On the other side, the Cincinnati Reds sitting one game back, the St. Louis Cardinals for the last wild card spot. So a whole lot going on right here in this game, and those are the type of games I like to get involved in here down the stretch in September. Walker Buehler, Cy Young candidate this year, has taken over the ace role. For me, he was the ace coming into the season. He's been our ace for the last couple of seasons. I was upset that we signed Bauer, kind of overshadowing Buehler, especially when Buehler gets $8 million and Bauer gets 40. Shit's insane. But just wanted to vent that out. Sorry. But Buehler here, like I said, he's had a tremendous season, man. And I expect him to continue what he's done. He had a slight hiccup against the San Francisco Giants on the road. It was tough to see that. That was a big game, but he bounces right back in another big game against the Padres. Goes 7 innings, 6 hits, just 2 earned runs. And I like what I've seen out of him. And here, facing the Cincinnati Reds team, who he saw earlier in the year, it says he gave up 5 runs. I'll kind of argue that it was a fielder's choice and 2 hits that actually scored the last 2 runs that he left on base. I forgot who the relief guy was, but to me, that's not really indicative of what he did. He's only allowing 10 hits on 49 at bats against these Reds, good for a 161 batting average. And on the other side, there's Luis Castillo, guy that's got the stuff. Sometimes struggles to put it together. You saw it earlier in the season here, was struggling bad. Here was in the month of June, 8.04 ERA. So really not the type of guy he is, but a guy that just kept a smile on his face every day. Still, you hear it around the Cincinnati Reds. They call this Happy Nino Day. Every time Luis Castillo pitches, that's what they call it. Good or bad, he rocks a smile and he tries to keep that positive energy going, and he's turned it around. He's looked a lot better the last few months, more indicative of what he's done. And here against the Dodgers, looking up the stats, he's done pretty well, only allowing a 223 batting average, only allowing 1 home run and 6 hits out of 30 at-bats. So I expect Luis Castillo to perform well. I don't agree with the market move. This is a playoff game. Bats get clinched a little bit tighter. Bullpen gets called a little bit earlier. All those things start to happen here. And we're talking about National League playoff baseball. I'm going to look under, and that's the only way I'm looking. I'm on the first 5 under 4.5, and I'll take the full game under 8.5 if I can find it.
Very, very interesting. Buehler coming off a nice start at home versus the Padres, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Castillo coming off a tough start. It wasn't that bad, but a tougher start and a 6-4 loss at the Cards. But that's been his MO all year. Unlike everybody else in the Reds rotation, he's been better at the Great American Ballpark. On the road, he's 2-8 with a 5.08 ERA, 259 opponents batting average. But at home, 5-7, 3.43 ERA, 252 opponents batting average. The Reds aren't hitting righties. We know that. 234, 710 OPS over the last 30 days. What surprised me is the Dodgers are even worse against righties over the last 30 days. 216 with a 675 OPS. Dodgers bullpen being so good of late. Reds bullpen has been quite a bit better. I'm interested that this has gone to the over. You touched on the baseball data here, pitcher versus batter. I just want to take a look at it here personally. Against Castillo, 207, 648 OPS. He's been very good. And Walker Buehler, 244, 613 OPS. So why would this be moving to the 8.5 with the way these pitchers are pitching and the way these offenses are hitting? 3,316 tickets in, 88% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the Dodgers, 49% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the under. So why would it be moved to 8.5? It's strange. It's strange. Do you trust these starters more than you trust each team's bullpen? Is it a wash, or do you like the first 5 better than the full game?
No, I like them both. And the reason for it is these guys throw a lot of innings. You got Walker Buehler, 4th in the league in innings pitched at 186. He's averaging just 6.4 innings per start. On the other side, Luis Castillo, 9th in innings pitched, 170 innings pitched, averaging 5.6 innings pitched per game. You talk about Cincinnati Reds' inability to hit right now. In the last 10 games, they're just averaging 2.7 runs per game. No way I'm trusting that offense. I'm trusting these pitchers to come here and deal, and I reiterate time and time again, National League playoffs. I'm be on it for the rest of the season. You'll hear it.
Very, very interesting. So the total's gone from 8 to 8.5. When did it move to 8.5? It moved to 8.5 early, right away. It moved last night at 8:45 p.m. So let's move over to the first 5 and see what's going on here. Pinnacle not giving me a history. Let me get a history from Bet Online. Totals. And, it opened at 4.5 there. So I don't feel like I lost. But the over was at plus 105. It's now minus 105. Wow, very, very, very interesting. Yeah, I can't double up here. I just don't want to risk. I don't want to put that much risk into the game. I will choose the first 5 under 4.5 instead of the full game. There you go. Our man Nolly Knows doubling up on the first 5 under 4.5 and full game under 8.5 for Nolly Knows. We're on the board. We move on 7:10 p.m. Eastern. These are the games that Nolly Knows has chosen to attack, and that's why we saved them for last year. Philadelphia Phillies 74-72, 32-40 on the road at the New York Mets 72-75, 43-31 at home. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York, 74 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour in. Zach Wheeler going up against Taijuan Walker. Wheeler coming off a good start at home against the Rockies, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, solo shot, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 13-9 on the year with a 2.86 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. Then we have his splits. He's been much better at home than he has been on the road. 7-5, 2.43 ERA, 200 opponents batting average at home. When he gets on the road, 6-4, 3.52 ERA, 243 opponents batting average. And Taijuan Walker on the other side, he's coming off a bad start at home, but those tough starts at home are sort of a rarity for him. He's been good at home, 4-3, 3.55 ERA, 208 opponents batting average. Both teams are hitting righties very hard right now, last 30 days. Mets 258, 782, Phillies 256, 790 OPS. Pimp slap play of the day from Mike M is the Mets first 5 plus a half. I will copy and paste that as soon as I set the table here for Nolly to break this spot down and how he's going to attack it. We have the Phillies opening up at minus 130. They're now minus 126. A 4-cent move towards the Metropolitans. This total was juiced minimally to the under 7.5 at minus 110. There's been a 10-cent move. It's now minus 120. Nolly, take it away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, it sputtered a little bit. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, here we're talking about another big game here. A lot of playoff implications here in this game. Philadelphia Phillies, they're not giving up. You saw yesterday, went on a tear. Bryce Harper doing his thing. And the Mets sitting 5 games back with 15 to go. And so if you're gonna make a move, you got to put it in gear. And here it's kind of fitting that Zach Wheeler could be one of the guys that kind of put him out of contention, being that Zach Wheeler used to be a Met, wanted to be a Met. And even the Mets front office claiming that their health department, their physical trainers were able to get Wheeler to put 2 half seasons together to steal $115 million is what they said. So a little chip on his shoulder. I don't know what that means here in this game. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just trying to stir the pot. I don't know. But Zach Wheeler's numbers here, you can't ignore him here against the New York Mets. 4 games started this year, 2-1 with a 2.15 ERA. Batting average against him, 217. He's got 31 strikeouts in 29 innings. He's pitched extremely well against these Mets. His curveball and slider have been phenomenal this year. His curveball is only allowing a batting average of 159, and happens to be the Mets are the worst curveball hitting team in the big leagues. And the fact that they were able to hit sinkers before, well, Wheeler's no longer throwing that sinker, and they're having issues with that. He used to use it at 20%. Now he's in the 13% range, and they're having trouble with it. He's throwing curveballs and sliders and getting a lot of strikeouts with it. Leads the league in strikeouts, leads the league in innings pitched. He averages 6 2/3 innings per start. The guy's going to eat up innings, and I love it. Here, another playoff atmosphere game. On the other side, we got Taijuan Walker. You talked about it. He's a roller coaster guy. That's just how he's been in his entire career. Every time I follow him, I try to pick my spot when I'm going to jump in, like double dutch. I've never been able to do it, but I could imagine, I guess. I don't know. But here, he's had 4 games here against Philly. 3.80 ERA, is actually pitched pretty well. His specifically against Bryce Harper, the hottest hitter right now. Bryce Harper is just 2 of 12, one of those being a home run. So he's been able to shut him down. Last time you talked about it, had a rough outing against the New York Yankees, a 9-11 game. A lot of emotions were involved in that game. Not to mention a little whistle blowing. I don't know if you heard about that, but that was Lindor hits a home run. I think it was to take the lead earlier in the game, or late in the game, and as he's rounding third, whistles towards the Yankees because he thought that he heard the Yankees whistling and about tip pitches that Walker was doing. They called timeout. Villar talked to him, and from that point on, after giving up 5 runs in 2 innings, Walker goes a perfect 4 innings after that. Not a single batter gets on, and that's the good sign that he might be turning around. You talked about it, how he pitches at home, and you look at these Mets at home, they just don't seem to be able to hit either. Unders at Citi Field have been 41, 27, and 4, good for 60% on the season. Here, that's where I'm looking at here. Full game under 7.5 for me. Playoff baseball, National League.
Yeah, I get that. That's a nice breakdown. Interestingly enough, this first 5 has gone from 3.5 to 4, which I'm a little surprised of. It's still at 3.5 at Pinnacle, but BetOnline has moved it to 4. That surprises me. That 4 is very appealing. Mally Mal says Walker been struggling. He has been, it's a long season, and he hasn't been nearly as good in the second half as he was in the first half. But if you look at the numbers, and we talk about the playoff type atmosphere, you look at the numbers the Phillies have against them, 184 with a 559 OPS. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. We have 3,139 tickets in, 64% of the tickets, 55% of the cash on the Phillies. And then you have just 27% of the tickets on the under, but 46% of the cash is on the under. Interesting. I'm surprised. Let me just see if my book's hanging a first 5. That's a 4. I'm going to take it very quickly here in this Mets-Phillies spot. No. But they're giving you plus money to go underneath it. Wow. TJ says Walker 3 runs or more in 8 of his last 9 starts, and Phillies bats are hot, which would then, I guess, lead you to want to take the Phillies first half. What do you think of backing Wheeler in the first 5 here?
Yeah, definitely that. I was actually thinking of pulling that trigger. I like the way he's looked. He's in dominant form. He mentioned it when he first came over here with the Phillies. He's here to try to win Cy Youngs, win playoff games, win championships. He's here to take the next step. That's what he wants to do with this team. So I expect him to come in here and pitch extremely well.
Maybe that's the better look, is the Phillies first 5 minus a half. Spencer Hughes looking at Philly first 5. TJ saying Philly's pen is used up. Slot says safer to take Phillies, in my opinion. Bonquiqui saying Walker over 2.5 earned runs might be a good look. And Slot says love that play. Jimmy, take Phillies bullpen out of it. Larry Gar says what's Wheeler's K prop? I'll get you Wheeler's K prop right now, but I think that might. Do you think that Taijuan Walker is vulnerable here at all because of that stat? 8 of his last 9 starts from TJ, 3 runs or more allowed.
I mean, sure, the guy has been hit here and there, but just the fact that he got hit last time and was able to turn it around, that's the sign that I like to see. He's ready to pitch, and it like you mentioned it's a lot of starts. You talk about 30 starts, the most he's had in a very long time, since maybe 2017 when he was with Seattle. So it's been a long time, so I can understand that. But I like the way he looked last time. And I mentioned it, playoff baseball. This is a big game. Big moment here. So
I wonder if I can get the 4, if I should wait out for the 4. I'd like to get the 4, but Phillies first 5 minus a half will be on my card. Great breakdown, Nolly. Let's keep rolling. And Larry Gar wanting that strikeout prop. I'll get it to you after I set the table here. We get to Chicago Cubs at Milwaukee Brewers. God, the Cubs did me dirty, man. 7-0 after 3 or 2.5 innings, top of the third, and I can't cash the first 5. At least I didn't lose it, but still. Very, very, very frustrating. Larry Gar is taking the Brew Crew minus 2.5 at plus 138. He says Cubs give up a 7-run lead last night. Travel, Davies on the bump. Brewers are rested at home. Our man, Matty Ice, gives us the taint play of the day right here. The taint play of the day is the Brewers on the run line at minus 120. Brewers have beaten the Cubs 9 straight this year, says Crystal Warren. Wow. Wow, I didn't realize that. American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Cubbies are 27-45 on the road. The Brewers are 40-31 at home at 75 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour, out to right field. Zach Davies' last start at home was bad. And he's been bad at home all year. 4-7, 5.99 ERA, 281 opponent's batting average. On the road, though, he's been better. 2-4, 4.58 ERA, 261 opponent's batting average. Not great, but better. Adrian Hauser, though, has been lights out. Thank you, Slatsy's helping me there. Slatsy's Wheeler is 6.5 K prop, minus 150 at bet 365. Here we go. Hauser's been lights out. He's just been so good of late. 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 runs, neither of which were earned in his last start. The one before that, I believe he went complete, 9. He had 3.25 ERA, 1.26 whip. At home, he's been very good, 3-3, but 2.54 ERA, 209 opponent's batting average. The Cubs are hitting righties hard right now, 249, 764 OPS, all Frankie Schwindel doing his thing with the stick. Brewers versus righties, 248, 736 OPS. Cubs bullpen has actually been a little better of late, last 30 days, 4.54 ERA. We got no sign of that yesterday, but they have been. Brewers bullpen, 3.75 ERA over the last 30. Let's set the table here for Nolly Knows. It is Cubbies, Brewers. This total opened up at 9 at a pick'em, and it's slightly juiced now to the under 9. Hauser and the Brewers open up at minus 215. There's been a 12-cent move towards at minus 227. Nolly Knows. Take it away, Cubs, Brewers.
Yeah, Cubs Brewers did not exactly a playoff implications for both sides here, but the Brewers still trying to close out the division here, and a team that I was really high on going into the season, a team that's pretty scary. The bullpen, the way that they handle it, I mentioned it last time when I was here on the show. I think they're a scary team, especially when you look at their offensive statistics from first half to second half. They've greatly increased. They're ready for playoff baseball, and they're a scary team. Here, Zach Davies, I understand, can be a red flag for a lot of people. You know, he's had a lot of ups and downs, had a very good month of May. June was decent, and then from then on, it's kind of imploded. But here in this specific spot, I kind of like the way he's done here in this ballpark. You know, familiar place where he spent 5 years of his 5 seasons here with Milwaukee, and he's been able to shut them down, allowing just 9 hits and 56 at-bats. That's good for a 138 batting average, allowing just 3 home runs. So here, unexpectedly, I would expect a solid start. The one thing is, though, with Davies is to avoid the third time around the batting order. You look at a significant increase. You can say that around the league with most pitchers, but not like this. Third time around, he's allowing a 409 batting average against. So definitely a thing that you want to avoid here with Davies. Just he's got to do better with his command, and that's a big thing. But here at home, the Brewers, hitting-wise, they do average an entire half a run less at home, and they've been a pretty solid team to the first 5 under because of that. You know, at home, very profitable, 41, 26, and 4 to the under in the first 5, good for 61.2%. And a big part of that has been their starting pitching. You know, top to bottom, these guys kind of figured it out. And it's something that I realized with Burns, that I realized here with Hauser, and they just emphasizing on the quality of pitch that they already have, you know, high spin rate or they see certain metrics that this pitch is better than the rest. So let's try to emphasize that pitch. And for Hauser, it's been the use of his sinker. Craig Counsell mentioned it, that the sinker just keeps getting better. His usage of it keeps getting better. And that's been the difference for him here. You mentioned it, 2.54 ERA at home as opposed to 3.96 on the road. I like what I see out of Hauser. The ground ball rate, highest of any major league pitcher with at least 120 innings pitched. Those are things that I love to see. And also for the Cubs, they also average an entire half a run less on the road as well. So here, I like the first 5 under 5 here for me, and try to get in and out and avoid Davies seeing the third time around the lineup and avoid that Cubs bullpen.
I know Davies wants to have a Milwaukee jersey on his back. He wants to be heading into the playoffs. I think there's a lot of ammunition for him to come out and pitch as well as he possibly can. And he has great numbers against his ex-teammates. They're hitting just 167 off him. But of the 9 hits, they're 9 for 54. Of the 9 hits, 7 of them are for extra bases. I like this look a lot. I think that we know that Davies has been better on the road than at home. He's going up against his old crew. I like both the taint play of the day and the first 5 under 5. I think that both make a lot of sense here. And -1.5. I think these are really nice looks on the board. Let's take a look at Hauser against the opposition. They get to him, surprisingly. 10 for 31, 323 with an 898 OPS, but he does seem like a different pitcher. Okay, sorry, man. And then let me just pop up the actual cash flow right now. The Cubs Brewers cash flow here. Where is it? Sorry, here we go. 2,660 tickets in. You have 82% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the Brew Crew. And here's the great stat here for anyone wanting to tail Nolly. 34% of the tickets are on the under. 81% of the cash is on the under. I like it. I'm going to roll with both those spots. I'm going to roll with Taint, and I'm going to roll with Nolly's look on the first 5 under 5. I think they both make sense here. Let's move on to the final game on the MLB card, and then we head into the gridiron. We close up our shop with the Braves at San Francisco Giants, and we get to TJ's play of the day. It's San Francisco first 5, -0.5 and -115. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Braves, Giants. Braves 39-32 at home. Giants 47-25. Oh, sorry. Braves 39-32 on the road. Giants 47-25 at home. 56 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 11 miles per hour, out to left center. Ian Anderson going up against Logan Webb. Two pitchers that are both pitching have pitched great this year. But Logan Webb has hit a bit of a bump, but those bumps are on the road. We know what he does at home. At home, he's 5-0 with a 1.66 ERA, 206 opponents batting average. Coming off a bad start at the Cubs. 6 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 of which were in 1 homer, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And that follows him all year. All year he's 5-3 with a 3.68 ERA, 248 opponents batting average. The Braves, are 237, 736 OPS versus righties last 30 days, while the Giants 246, 770. Braves bullpen has been much better in the second half of the season. Giants bullpen's just been lights out all year. Anderson coming off that 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 9 Ks, and a 6-2 win at home versus the Marlins. Let's set the table. This is the last game on the card. Then we move on to college football. This total opened up at 8. Juice to the under. It's now at 7.5. The Giants opened up at -142, a 28-cent move towards Logan Webb, and the Giants at -170. Take it away here, Nolly. Braves, Giants.
Another big game here. We're talking about these teams. Braves looking to take over the NL East. And here, the Giants fighting to remain in first place. You know, Dodgers are coming. They're 1 game back. They lose 2 straight. Giants here. And Giants, they really don't lose 3 in a row. They've done it maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure exactly. I think it might have been 3 times the entire year. It's tough to beat these guys over and over. Logan Webb, the guy's been a stud. This is a guy that when the San Francisco Giants cleaned house, this is the guy that they kept, and for good reason. You've seen him make a big turnaround this year. He incorporated a changeup that he learned from another minor leaguer, just kind of copied his changeup, and it worked. Something that you've seen with Sonny Gray and Trevor Bauer and some of those guys trying to help each other out. And that's what's been a big deal for him when you talk about him kind of turning the page and becoming that guy. You know, you talk about since the All-Star break, he's got a 2.21 ERA and he's 6-0 in those starts. The guy's done really well. He talks about being a little bit more unpredictable, and he talks about how a lot of the veterans on this ball club have helped him, whether it be the catchers, other pitchers. He talks about taking a fishing trip with Longoria, and it was a big moment because he's telling them you got to find yourself and find out who you are and what you're going to do. So in translation, when he's at the plate, he's got a guy that struggles with a curveball. Is he going to throw that curveball, or is he going to stick to his changeup? You know, you got to pitch to your strong suits is what he basically said. And it was a big moment for him. But he talks about talking to Crawford. He talks about the catchers that they have over there. And I think that's a big deal when you talk about San Francisco Giants and what they've done with that pitching staff. The 2 catchers that they have a lot of experience, and the guys that are very intelligent. There's no coincidence that when the San Francisco Giants won that World Series, then Buster Posey goes out and they don't even make the playoffs, comes back and they win the World Series again. It's no accident. It's Buster Posey. You know, the guy is just a stud back there. You know, I have to admit it. And ultimately, you know, I am a little biased towards the Dodgers, but I will always say I'm a baseball fan before I'm a Dodger fan. So I enjoy what I see on the field from these San Francisco Giants. I love the mix of veterans with some of these youngsters. It's exciting to see. And Logan Webb, him producing here, has been exciting for me. I keep talking about it. Playoff baseball here, National League, and I'm looking towards the under. Ian Anderson on the other side. He's had a bit of a roller coaster season, but a guy that, again, gets a lot of ground balls, some that I like, a guy that's battle tested. You know, the guy jumped in and hit the scene running last year, did really well in the playoffs. You look at his numbers with the bases empty, 237 batting average, but when runners get on, drops a little bit, 224. Runners in scoring position, drops even more to 206. So the guy gets it done, 2 outs, runners on. He's going to get you that ground ball. Even just 1 out, get you that double play. It's huge.
It's a great breakdown. Great breakdown, Nolly. And one thing that I have noticed on this card is the 2 spots, one with German Marquez and now here with Ian Anderson, pitchers that were supposed to pitch yesterday and thought they were going to pitch. It was the field became the problem, not the actual weather. So with the market has gone heavy on the over against both of those pitchers. And I'm going to keep a really close eye on what happens in these games. TJ backing that here. From a stats analysis breakdown, I agree with everything you said about both pitchers. And Ian Anderson is when he needs to throw the pitch, he gets it done. But it's wild here when we look at the cash flow in this game and we see with 3,240 tickets in, you have 67% of the tickets, 45% of the cash on the Giants. But here you have 32% of the tickets on the over and 86% of the cash on the over. So big bets coming in on the over. And I'm surprised that if there's a feeling in the marketplace that Anderson is out of his routine, then why is the money coming in on the Braves, or the big bets coming in on the Braves? Do you think it's people looking too closely at Logan Webb's last 2 starts that were on the road?
I'm not sure. I'm not really good at analyzing those type of trends and things of that nature. I try to just not think about it. I try to just stick to what I see. But I mean, I can understand. Atlanta Braves have been one of the most over teams, and I know there's a little bit of wind blowing out to left field. I think 10 miles an hour, but nothing I'm really afraid of. But I mean, I guess that'd be the only thing. And somebody mentioned in the chat about the travel day, and that's always an issue. They didn't travel just across the street.
Yeah, and TJ also saying that Sierra and XFIP both over 5, and we knew that Carlos Hernandez had the Sierra and XFIP over 5, and he got absolutely destroyed. Larry Gar says, is the over going to move up? Let's just take a quick look at it here. No. I mean, this is just reverse line movement at its finest here. We'll see what Pinnacle's done with that 7.5. Yeah, I mean, when they moved it to 7.5, it was at 11:45 a.m. It was like 55 minutes ago. So it's been a 2-cent move to the over since they moved it. That's extremely interesting. Okay. TJ is on the Giants first 5 minus a half, but he's not taking them full game. This is a peculiar spot. Your action here in Braves Giants is what, Nolly?
Go full game under 7.5, and I really wouldn't be surprised if the game ends exactly on 7.
Wow, there you go. Ronald Cheatham says, what is Nolly's page? Follow our man Nolly on Twitter. It's at Nolly Knows there. It's here, let me pull this off. You'll see it. I got the brand on it, my fault. It's at Nolly Knows. Where the hell is that thing? There you go. At Nolly Knows right there. Just spelled just like that. Follow our man on Twitter. I am going to sit with this for a little longer, but your move makes a ton of sense. So Nolly's on the under 7.5 in Braves Giants. He's on the first. What's your action here on Chicago Milwaukee?
That one was the first 5 under 5.
First 5 under 5, yes. And I'm going to be tailing that as well. The taint at -1.5. Then the pimp slap play of the day is Mets first 5 plus a half. And Nolly, I'm so caught up in my action when you're talking. I want you to lead me to cash. I haven't been properly writing down your action. What's your action here for Phillies
I went full game under 7.5 there.
Full game under 7.5 for Nolly. And for that one, I'm going to be on the Phillies first 5 minus a half, which Nolly said he's interested in. We'll see if he pulls the trigger. And that first 5, if it gets to 4, I'm going to be all over it. I'm looking at it very closely. Then, Nolly, you doubled up. Nolly doubled up on the Dodgers-Reds game. First 5 under 4.5 and full game under 8.5. And I'm going to move on the first 5 under 4.5. I've been trying really hard not to double up on any baseball at this time of the year. Those are the 4 spots that Nolly has broken down. A quick review of the others. Indians first 5, I'm going to wait on, but I'm interested in. And the first 5 under 5 in Cleveland Yankees. Then the first 5 over 5, I keep staring at for Twins Jays. I do not know if I'm going to pull the trigger. I don't think I can pull the trigger on Orioles first 5, but I don't think that Sale, after coming off of COVID, should be this big of a favorite. But maybe he wanted the arm rest, and you never know with Sale. He could just be lights out, so I'm not going to sit here and do that. Rays, Rem Mo says I'm seeing 8 for the San Francisco game. There is 1 8 out there, I believe. There's a couple 8s. But most of the books have moved to 7.5. But yeah, good call, Rem. There is a couple. Rays minus 1.5. I think they wreck shop here. Marlins minus 1. Nothing for me in White Sox Rangers. I do have some interest in the Astros on the run line. They're playing good baseball. I hate that I didn't get the under 5 in the Mariners Royals first 5. It's at 4.5 now. I still might pull the trigger. Nothing for me in Padres Cardinals. And I want the over, depending on who the pitcher is, obviously, with the Angels. But I like Cole Irvin to get touched enough to get to the over. There you have it. There is MLB baseball. Absolutely spectacular job. Nolly knows. Nolly, we move into college football, and a very bad beat last night for me when Louisiana had the no-huddle offense up 42-14 with a couple of minutes left. Very irritating. Very, very irritating. But still a great year. A good year. 16-11, 59.3 plus 3.65 units, plus 13.52%. Quick review of my action left. Temple plus 16, that's moved down to 14 and 14.5. Ohio State minus 27, that's gone down to 24.5. Toledo minus 14.5, that's gone down to 14. Army first half minus 21. This was a look that Dami Gunrichi was talking about, that Maxwell Smart is also on, and I love it. Ohio State first half minus 14.5. Interesting that the full game has changed, but not the first half. Old Dominion plus 27.5, and ODU Liberty under 53. We broke that game down yesterday. The first 2 games we're going to talk about here in NCAA football are the Friday night action. UCF Louisville and Maryland Illinois. Then Nolly picked his best 3 spots on the board. So the first 2 games that we're breaking down aren't part of Nolly's best bets, and I'm not sure if he's going to move on either of them. And he's only going to give us the spots that he wants to bet. So may not be a move from him. And I haven't moved on either of these games yet. So let's get to work. We are talking college football, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. UCF Knights 2-0, having their first road game of the season at the Louisville Cardinals, who've opened up terrible, at Cardinal Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. UCF opened their season with a 36-31 home win over Boise State as 6-point favorites. They followed it up with a 63-14 win over Bethune-Cookman as 46-point favorites. So that is UCF. And on the other side, Louisville opened up its season with a 43-24 loss at home versus Ole Miss as 9-point dogs. They followed that up with a 33 home beatdown of Eastern Kentucky, but they were 30-point favorites, so they didn't cover either of those 2 spots. We'll break down each team individually here in a second. Let's move over to the market, though, first. UCF opening up as 7.5-point favorites. That's moved to 7. This total opened up at 69.5, and it's moved down to 67. Let's move over to the cash flow here. UCF, we have 11,323 tickets in. 38% of the tickets on UCF and 91% of the cash. Expecting a UCF beatdown here, even though the market's moved from 7 up to 7. That's wildly interesting. Then we have 44% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on the under, and it's moved down 2.5 points. That makes sense. But why is there being a half-point move towards Louisville when the money is coming in on UCF? Let's move over to UCF here. Gabriel's looked very good. He's ranked 11th nationally in passing yards. He loses his entire backfield pretty much in the draft, NFL draft. But Isaiah Bowser comes in from Northwestern, and just a monster game against Boise, 172 yards. Then 4 touchdowns against Bethune-Cookman. I know that's quite easy. 6 different receivers have caught a touchdown for UCF. This is an offense that is rolling. Look, a lot of people had high hopes for Malik Cunningham, as a dual threat, the quarterback here for Louisville. And I can't say that he's come through with those high expectations. He made mistake after mistake, it seemed like, last year, and he's fixed that a bit so far this year, with 1 pick and 60 pass attempts. And Huggins Bruce looks like the real deal, although he's only caught 6 passes this year, but he's got wheels. The problem is not Louisville's offense. The problem is their defense. Now, their defense opened up horrifically. And last year, they allowed 40 points, and they averaged allowing 40 points. And they've allowed at least 40 in 12 of their last 17 losses as a football team. But they have looked a little better. They looked better in the second half of the loss against Ole Miss. Was Ole Miss playing subs? Yes, at that point. And they look good against Eastern Kentucky. So they've allowed 20 points in the last 6 quarters of football. I don't know I think that's a sign of the opposition rather than them playing better. So Osby says, I'll take that +7. Jake Burns says Louisville played SEC team is a different beast. Mally Mal says Louisville is trash, UCF to cover. Sunny Springs also on UCF. I'll bring up more of the looks from the chat. Puzzler says, I think Louisville doesn't have the pass attack needed to keep up with UCF. Let's hear what Nolly Knows has to say about this first college football game on the card, UCF at Louisville.
Yeah, UCF is typically a team that I don't jump in too much with them. A team that likes to push the pace. I did get involved in the first game then with Boise State. Took the push on that one, but here this is an interesting game with Louisville, another team that pushes the pace a lot, but a team that likes to run the ball significantly. You have a dual threat quarterback, like to run the ball, and that's kind of going into the strong suit of UCF. You look at their rushing, only allowing 22 rushing yards per game right now. I mean, mind you, only after 2 games, so not a whole lot to take into that. But a UCF team that's looking good and looking to push the pace. You look at Louisville had trouble with another team that likes to run and gun with an Ole Miss over there. And so I expect them to have some issues here dealing with this UCF team. You mentioned it, the passing yards that Louisville is given up. Their defense has been lackluster. I really don't believe in this team. And I think the UCF, the way they responded in that Boise State game said a lot about them to be able to battle back and take that game. But then Cookman, doesn't really say a whole lot, but they're ranking towards the top. And Louisville, their offense to me not really that great. With the amount of plays that they run, they should be producing significantly more. Only averaging about 5.6 yards per play, significantly less than what you see on the other side of the ball, about 7.3. So I think they might have a tough time here with UCF. I'm leaning towards it. I was going to avoid this game, but now that I'm sitting here looking at it, and I dug into it a little bit last night, I'm leaning towards UCF. The tough thing is, going on the road on a Friday night, that's tough. Anywhere. It's Friday night. Everybody, a lot of eyes on this game. So that's the one thing maybe keep me off of it, but I'd lean towards UCF.
Yeah, I'd lean towards UCF as well. DJ Big Boss, thank you for joining us in the chat. Our college football expert also is leaning towards UCF. I see every reason to do that. By the way, Summers Are for Taint is in Alabama first half. -8.5 is the Matty Ice David Summers collab play, and his straight cash only play of the day is Alabama first quarter -3.5. And then we got Jeffrey Blue is Blue Balls play of the day is Rays team total over 5. So Luke Murphy on the first half over, and Sonny, I saw someone on the under, and Red Girl UCF full game under, and she wasn't the only one on the under either. Brian Watson also on the under. I agree with this breakdown. I think that yes, it's tough for UCF to travel on a Friday night, but I think that they could rise up with all eyes on them. And I do not care that Louisville's defense looked good against Eastern Kentucky. And in the second half of that football game where they were getting beaten down by Ole Miss, that doesn't mean that to me that they're an improved defense. Let's see what they do against UCF's offense. This makes sense to me. CT Base says Louisville can't pass if they get down. I think that UCF at 7 is a fine place to get them. So that is our first game on the Friday night board, and I think I'm going to move on UCF. I think they can cover 7. We move on to the 9 p.m. Eastern spot. Maryland Terrapins, Illinois fighting Illinois. It is the first Big Ten game for Maryland. We're at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois, and Illinois opened 1-0 in the Big Ten. So let's move over first to the market, and exactly the same as the game above, except for the total. The Maryland opened as a 7.5 road favorite, just like UCF. That's moved to 7. But in this game, the total opened up at 59.5 and has gone up 2 points rather than down 2 points, as was the first game. Let's take a look at the money and see if that all correlates. We have 12,433 tickets in. 35% of the spread tickets are on Illinois, and 45% of the spread tickets are on. And look, I'm so used to the money line and in baseball. I gave you guys the spread or the money line tickets, not the spread tickets for the Central Florida game. My fault. I gave you 38% of the money line tickets, 91% of money line cash. For the spread, Central Florida, 65% of tickets and 68% of cash. And here in Maryland, 65% of the tickets on the spread and just 55% of the cash. So it looks like some sharp money is coming in on Illinois. From the total perspective, 43% of tickets on the under and 77% of cash on the under, and yet it's gone up 2 points, which is very interesting. Okay, let's go. Maryland opened its season with a 30-24 win at home over West Virginia as 2.5-point dogs. They followed that up with a 62-0 home destruction of Howard as 48.5-point favorites. We got Tagovailoa, the brother of Tua, and he has been excellent. Leads all Big Ten quarterbacks in completion percentage, passer rating, second in touchdown passes. He's looked very, very good. And he's got great receivers to look to in Demus Jr. and Rakeem Jarrett. Running back Tayon Fleet Davis, 189 yards and 26 carries. This offense for Maryland looks dangerous. Illinois opened their season with a 37-30 loss at home versus UTS. Or actually, we know that they cashed in their big opener week 0. I don't have that here for some reason, but in week 2, 37. So they beat Nebraska in front of all of us in week 1. Then they lose 37-30 at home versus UTSA as 4.5-point favorites. They followed that up by getting killed at Virginia. They were just 10.5-point dogs. They lose 42-14. UTSA at home, Virginia on the road, they give up 1,053 yards. Their defense is last in the conference. Their pass defense is last in the conference. And Bielema he's now moved Brandon Peters back to quarterback. He injured his non-throwing shoulder in that opener against Nebraska. We haven't seen him since. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe having Brandon Peters back at quarterback will be the difference for him. Their rushing is being nowhere to be found. If Epstein is the main running back, it's a problem, but maybe getting Brandon Peters back is the difference in this game. And let's hear what Nolly Knows has to say about the spot, Maryland, Illinois.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You mentioned it in its resemblance to the last game. You know, there are a lot of things that resemble the previous game we talked about. Maryland, another team that likes to push the pace. I think they average about 82 plays per game, and high-flying offense, like you mentioned, it by the air attack, and that's going to be a problem for Illinois, who's averaging even worse than the last team, 311 yards passing, and Maryland, again, very good against the run. The defense has looked really good to start off the year, mind you, against Howard, but we're able to pull off a victory against West Virginia. Relied on some turnovers in that game, so maybe weren't supposed to pull that off, but they did, and they look really good defensively, and I think that's what's been the surpriser here going into this season. Illinois has really struggled offensively. You look at that first game that they were able to pull off against Nebraska, 6 for 13 on third down conversions, but since then, 6 of 17 and 8 of 18, not going to get it done on the field. And that's something that I actually forgot to mention about Louisville. Louisville, even against Eastern Kentucky, we're only 4 of 14 on third down against the FCS team. They're going to have some trouble against UCF. I think I'm going to take that one. But here, Illinois looking really bad. Like you mentioned, it going to their backup quarterback. After that first game, the way the quarterback stepped in and the team rallied around him, coach is saying, that's our guy for the future. It's obvious. And after the loss, a big loss last week, he's saying, "Oh, we're missing our quarterback," and now it's a change of what he's saying, change the topic a bit. But here, to me, a little suspicious when I see the -7. I see a double-digit win here for Maryland, but hard for me to get involved. I lean towards the over a little bit, the way Maryland's been putting up points, but their defense looks good. It's like this game was just hard for me, so ultimately I stayed off. I don't mess with this conference too much.
And interestingly enough, TJ says Birdie put me on Illinois +8 and the money line early this week. Lovey Smith is gone. Nate Dogg 420. He's moved back as a coordinator in the NFL. Yeah, I feel like there's moving parts to this game that I need to study further. I need to look into the quarterback change and what that will do for morale here. Maryland looks like a very good team, though. But I agree. I think that for right now, I feel like UCF is probably a dunk for us, and I'm not sure about this Maryland spot as of now. But wow. Okay, so that's our opener here. We have the 2 Friday games in NCAA football, and now we get to our man Nolly Knows' best bets here for college football. Let me pull up here the market. So Nolly Knows, you start with the number 8 ranked Cincinnati Bearcats. Started the year very impressively, 2-0, and against the Indiana Hoosiers, 1-1 at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana. And let me move over here so I can lock this down for you. And I'm going to pull up the cash flow. So let's go. The 12 o'clock start against Indiana. Cincinnati opens as 3-point favorites. That is moved to 3.5. And from a total perspective, the game opened here. Sorry, my computer's a little slow. Opened at 51, is now at 49.5 or 49. Pinnacle has moved it to 49, so you can expect the other books to follow suit. And then from a cash flow perspective, we have 8,700 tickets in. 86% of the tickets, 87% of the cash are on Cincinnati. Wow. And then 50-50 on the over-under tickets, but 62% of tickets – 62% of cash is on the under. Here we go, Nolly, the first game of your best bets, Cincinnati, Indiana. Take it away.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Kind of excited about this game. Cincinnati, a team looking to go undefeated in the year. Got a big test coming up after this game, though. Going to go on the road to face Notre Dame. So possible look-ahead spot here. Maybe take that into account a little bit. Maybe start sluggish here in this game. But Cincinnati, dark horse candidate for Heisman Trophy, Desmond Ridder. They trying to push him. He kind of turned it around halfway through the season last year, able to run the offense significantly better this year. Running the ball really well. The offense is Jerome Ford, junior running back, rushing 7.8 yards per carry. So they've been able to do a lot of good things on the ground. But here, a team that doesn't really push the pace a lot. It's a defensive-minded team. Is going to run the ball, really balanced offense. They're 121st in the nation with 59 plays per game. So really, like I said, not pushing the pace at all. And their defense only allowing 14 points per game. And I know it's only early in the season, but it's no anomaly. Last year in 2020, allowing 16.4 points per game. The year previous to that, it was right around 18. So this is a team that predicated around defense. That's what they do. And I expect them to sit here and do their thing against Indiana, which Indiana not looking so great against Iowa, which is a similar opponent that they're facing here in Cincinnati. Those are the two things I look at. And Indiana, another team that really not pushing the pace at all. They're 97th in the nation with 65 plays per game. They like to run the ball a lot. They average about 40 rushing attempts per game, only good for 115 yards. So running the ball, you're running the clock. And those are the two things that I look for. And Indiana, not very productive, like I mentioned, 4.3 yards per play. So here, I think they're going to have a tough time to struggle. But being that they run the ball a lot, it's going to be running the clock a lot. Cincinnati runs the ball. And so those are the things that I look for. And Indiana's defense against the rush has been pretty solid here this year. I grabbed the under 50, but I still like that 49.5.
Under 50 in Cincinnati Bearcats, Indiana Hoosiers to get Nolly's Saturday started off. Next up on Nolly's card, 4:15 p.m. Eastern, Arkansas State Red Wolves at Washington Huskies. We're at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington for this. Arkansas opened up its season. How did they do this? They lose to Memphis 55-50 last out. They started with a 40-21 win over Central Arkansas Bears. That was with them as 13.5-point favorites. When they went into Memphis, they played Memphis at home, and lost 55-50. They were 5.5-point dogs. So just by the tiniest of margins, they covered that. Washington has got off to a disappointing start to the season. Let's first look at the odds page here, and then we'll take a look at the cash flow. Washington opening up as 16-point favorites. That's moved to 17.5 at Heritage and Bet Online. This total has been sitting at 58.5. From a cash flow standpoint, there's 2,093 tickets in here. Listen to this, 37% of the tickets on Washington, but 74% of the cash. Big bets being made on the Huskies. Then 58% of the tickets, 59% of the cash on the under. Nolly Knows, take it away. Arkansas State, Washington.
This is a game I have circled, a game that I like quite a bit compared to some of the other bets that I made for the weekend. Here you look at Arkansas State, you look at the amount of points that they've been able to put up on the board. A lot of it coming, the majority of it coming through the air, 375 yards passing, but only 78 yards rushing on the season. So they're looking to pass the ball a lot. They run a very high pace, close to 100 plays they ran last time out. But against a Memphis team that kind of does the same, built similar to them, and allows that passing as well. The defense is not this Washington defense, and that's the biggest thing here. The big focus for me in this game is Washington. So their offense, lackluster. I was watching them last time out against Michigan. When they scored their first field goal, the announcer, he mentions a stat, first score in 20 possessions, so that's an offense that just really been struggling, and that I like to see that when I'm betting unders. They like to run the ball a lot, but very unsuccessful, only averaging 1.9 yards per rush Washington has this season. And one thing that I mentioned about Arkansas State passing the ball, they're not going to do it against Washington. And I'm going to tell you, this is a team that I've been focusing on for years. When they were going against Mike Leach, air raid against Washington State, that was easy money every year, because this type of team going against this Washington team just doesn't equate. And the reason for it is Jimmy Lake, head coach Jimmy Lake. He came over to Washington in 2014 as the DB coach. And since then, every other year, Washington produces at least 2 NFL DBs every other year. Last year, 2. 2020, 0. 2019, there were 3 of them. 2018, 0. 2017, 2. Going all the way back since Jimmy Lake has started. He's a former DB, and that's their focal point. And guess what? They got 2 more NFL guys right now. A big guy, Tyler Gordon, very lengthy guy, able to cover it down, and I expect them to shut down this Arkansas air raid attack that's just not going to be able to do it. Not here today. And that's my big focus here today. And they're giving me a 58 based on what they have done. No way. This is not a Washington team at 58. No way. I'm under, and I'm on it heavy.
This is a great breakdown. I absolutely love this breakdown. Nolly Knows. Who Bang and Sports Talk in capital letters says tail this one. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. That breakdown makes a ton of sense. We move on to Nolly's last spot on the card. Troy Trojans at Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Let's get over there right now. Troy, Southern Miss, we're in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, for this spot at MM Roberts Stadium. I have not broken this game down, and I can't wait to hear the looks. And let's start with the market move here in the Troy spot. Troy opening up as 8.5-point favorites. That has moved to 10 right across the board. This total opened up at 51.5, and now we have between 50.5, 50, and 49.5, depending on where you shop. Okay, here we go. This is the cash flow in this spot. Game pops off at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we have very limited ticket sample size here. So let's not get too caught up in it. 882 tickets, very limited. But 72% of the tickets, 65% of the cash on the spread on Troy. Then we have 62% of the tickets, but 41% of the cash on the under. Here we go. Troy, Southern Miss. Take it away, Nolly.
Yeah, this game a bit of a more of an ugly type of game here. When you look at these two teams, the way that they matched up in the past, it's typically been a high-scoring game, but these teams are just built significantly different now. Southern Miss, a team that's really relying on their defense a lot more here, only allowing 46.5 rushing yards per game, only 179 yards passing. That's looking very good here. But, I mean, facing just South Alabama and Grambling, I can understand that. But this is another Sun Belt team that they're facing, South Alabama being another. And so I think they understand the level of competition, I could say. And they gave up 31 points against South Alabama, but because of turnovers. That was a big issue for them there. But Southern Miss, a team that likes to run the ball a lot. And like I mentioned, when we run the ball, we run the clock, and I love that. 47 rushing attempts per game. 47 rushing attempts per game. That's going to eat up the clock, and that's what I love to see. And like I mentioned already, they're very good against run, and they average about 75 plays per game, right about average for college football. They're 2-0 to the under to start off the season by an average of 14.5 points. So the odds makers are just not getting it right. And the odds and the total for those first two were 57 and 47. So we're right there within that range at the 50. And so I like that a lot. Troy on the other side, they're 127th in the league, in the college football with 54 plays per game, running a very, very slow pace, snail pace, really. They're getting 2.9 yards per rush, still running 32 times. And a big problem for them is the inability to protect their quarterback. Gave up 5 sacks last time out to Liberty. Going to be an issue here with Southern Miss. Mentioned the strong suit is that defensive front. You know, they got guys that have got sacks in multiple games. I expect that defense to come forward here once again. And I'm taking the under here like I always do. Give me that under 50.5.
Under 50.5, and that's on Matty Ice's card as well. He's with you on that under. Corey Simmons with us. Focus on your bet, says Troy with the point is the play. Who banging though? It's feeling contrarian on this one. But Matty Ice and our guy Nolly Knows already on the under 50.5 in Troy. Southern Miss, incredibly thankful to have you on our show, Nolly. You're going to see a lot more of Nolly Knows here on Pub Sports Radio, and we are honored to work with him. There's Juan Ruiz in the joint. Great to see you, Juan. So these are Nolly Knows' looks here. In NCAA football, he's on the under 50.5 in Troy, Southern Miss, the under 58.5 in Arkansas State, Washington Huskies, and the under 50 in Cincinnati, Indiana. Exciting to have his looks on the show. In MLB, he is on the – oh, and by the way, just before we leave NCAA football, Gambler's First Glance is in, and it's on the Louisville Cardinals. Gambler's First Glance is on the Louisville Cardinals, so that's going to take me – that throws me for a loop. That's going to then require more study. We are going to add some bags of cash. We're going to add some bags of cash on our Gambler's First Glance video, but here it is, Gambler's First Glance. I love Razor. And then in MLB, our man Nolly is on the under 7.5 in Braves Giants. He is on the first 5 under 5 in Brewers Cubbies. He's on the under 7.5 in Phillies Metropolitans. And he is on double up under on the Dodgers and Reds first 5 and full game. There you go. Nolly Knows, thank you so much for sharing all your insights and wisdom with us. We love you immensely and can't wait to see your debut on our NFL show this Sunday. We're going to have 6 different cappers giving us their best bets. Nolly is going to be on that show. It's going to be excited to have him. Please follow him on Twitter at Nolly Knows. Let me get this off here. At Nolly Knows right there. Nolly, any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
Just good luck to everybody out there. Hopefully we can get some winners, and don't forget to bet those unders.
Absolutely. There he is. Nolly Knows in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, my guy.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. It's always a pleasure. Shout out to the chat.
There he is. Nolly Knows in the joint. All right, CFL football. We save the most ignored for last, but I like these 2 games tonight, so let's talk CFL football. I've moved on one of them and may move on another, sitting just 4-4 on the year. Only 8 bets made for me in CFL, and more are coming. More are coming. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Calgary Stampeders at Hamilton Tiger Cats. We're at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, Ontario. The Stampeders are 2-4, 1-3 at home. The Tiger Cats 2-3, 1-0 at home. Starting quarterback Dane Evans is now out for the Ticats. 4 to 6 weeks, sustained a lower body injury late in that game that we all had the Argos. Actually, I should say we all had the Argos because I hummed and hawed. But Mark Sports Betting was on the Argos, and North Ender and I followed suit. We waited for the perfect amount of time. We knew that money was going to come in on the Ticats because everyone had just seen the Ticats beat up on the Argos 32-19 at Tim Hortons Field. The Ticats are a very dangerous team at home. The question is, and for those of you college football fans in the house, how is David Watford going to look as the quarterback for the Tiger Cats? Hampton Pirates' very own David Watford. So far, he's looked pretty good. He's been with the Tabbies now for 3 years. He came into that game after Dane Evans got hurt, completed 6 plays for 78 yards. And Deacon Mike, we love you. Thank you for being a part of this. CFL time, baby. CFL time. So those of you who know Watford from his playing days in Hampton may have an idea of how you think he's going to compete here. He entered the league in 2018, and he's 26 for 50 for 320 yards and a touchdown. His big year in NCAA football was 2015. He was threw for 21 touchdowns, 167 for 315, and 167 of 315 for 2,088 yards. He can move with the ball. He can run. That's another big thing. He's and that's huge in the CFL, 3-down football. If you can get out of the pocket, it's a passing league. So if you can move when everybody's covered and pick up yards, or at least make sure that one of the defensive backs has to keep an eye on you, it helps immensely. And we know that the Tiger Cats are a strong squad at home. They go up against the Stampeders, who are just 2-4 on the year, and they had to deal with not having Bo Levi Mitchell in the lineup. Bo Levi Mitchell is back. He returned last week, and it was a completely different football team. They win 32-16 in Edmonton after Edmonton had won the Labor Day Classic. They go back down to Edmonton, and they beat them 32-16. Levi Mitchell goes 23 of 42 for 276 yards and a touchdown. Kamar Jordan may be the best wide receiver in the league. Leads all receivers with 516 yards, and Kadeem Carey is a monster. 339 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. He looks very, very dangerous. This team looks very dangerous, and I do not know what to do with David Watford. So I've yet to move on this game, and I guess it will require some more study. Let's take a look and see what the market has shown us here in in Canadian football. We move over to the market here. We have the Stamps open up as 2.5-point dogs, and they're back to 2.5-point dogs. That's very interesting. So, wow. So last night they're 2.5 dogs. Then this morning it goes to 1.5. And then for 10 minutes this morning, they're 1-point dogs. And then the switch gets flipped and the Hamilton money comes in. And I think it's a mistake here. And it's such a tricky spot. But it's a mistake here to back this Stamps team because Dane Evans isn't going to be there. And it's going to be Watford, who's been in the system now for 3 years. And it's clear that sharp money came in on the Ticats. This makes me very, very uncomfortable. Let's take a look at the total here in this spot. Opened up at 43.5. It's now at 44. I know the Ticats defense is very strong, but feels like the over can be in play. It's such a low total. Can you imagine totals this low in the CFL 5 years ago? Unheard of. It's funny how it's changed. Luke Murphy says, I like the Stamps here. This game makes me very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. And I wonder if Ticats early. I wonder if Watford surprises early and Bo Levi Mitchell has to put points on the board. Puzzler says, not sure if I dare to bet the over in a CFL game this year. So this is a tricky spot. Let's move on to the final game of the night here. I have moved on the Saskatchewan Roughriders at -3 at Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Let's take a look at the market move in this spot. It was the only 3 on the board, and I felt like I had to pull the trigger. We now see 4.5s on the board. Can you believe we see 4.5s on the board? There's no way that Bet365 could still be holding on to that 3, is it? Is there a possibility? That's crazy. Money, look at that. It's still there. At Bet365, you can still get the Roughriders at -3 and -115. It's like the odds department is not focusing closely enough on what's happening in the Canadian football market. So the Roughriders hit their season low in the Banjo Bowl last week, losing 33-9 at Winnipeg. But it was Fajardo going down with an injury. He's back. He's in business. Puzzler says, I do lean over, but I need to think about it more. So do I, Puzzler. So let's stay in touch about that spot. They lose the Labor Day Classic at home. It was a close game. Bombers pulled away late. And usually in the revenge spots, when it goes back to your own stadium, I like to take the other side. And I did with the Argos, and we cashed on the money line. But here, I faded Saskatchewan because I think Winnipeg is the best team in the CFL. What we've seen about these Toronto Argonauts is they're weak on the road. They need to be just outside my apartment at BMO Field for them to succeed. I think this is a great bounce back and buy low spot on the Roughriders at home. If you would have said to me at the beginning of the year that you'll get the Roughriders -3 at home against the Argos, I would say, well, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They're going to cover here. So I moved on the Roughriders confidently at -3 at -115, and I love seeing the 4.5s on the board. And anybody with a Bet365 account should bet the Roughriders -3 right now because you are getting 1.5 of value from most books and at least a point of value from Pinnacle. So I'm on the Roughriders, and when we go to a total perspective, let's take a look at the total here. In this spot, opened up at 44. It's now at 44.5. These are two very low totals in these games. Now, the Roughriders have to win with defense. They have to. Their offense just has not been strong enough. So I'm very hesitant to move on and over here. But I do think in this Calgary-Hamilton game that points will be scored. And this is too low of a total. I do think that. At home, It's going to be packed at Tim Hortons Field. You got Bo Levi Mitchell, who's very comfortable under pressure. And then you got David Watford at quarterback, who's being undervalued. In fact, with that big market move that we just saw towards that, when it went down to 1, it got hammered. The Ticats bets got hammered. Makes me want to back the Ticats here at home. It really does. I'm not a big Dane Evans fan, and I've got to study Watford closer, but I don't know if the drop-off is going to be that immense. And this guy's been here with the team for 3 years. So I am certainly leaning towards the Tiger Cats, and I'm leaning towards the over. And it'll just take a little bit more study before I pull the trigger, but that is where I'm planning on going in Stamps Tiger Cats. All right, you know what? I'm going to move on the over. That's just too low. That's too low for Hamilton. You play over at BMO Field. It's not full. It's sleepy, and the Argos were so angry after what happened to their defense. So it was all about their defense all week against Hamilton. Now you have Hamilton at home with Watford with this opportunity. The Stamps have their offense clicking. They have their two-time Grey Cup winning quarterback back and healthy. So that's my plan there. Let's review action here and put a bow on this show. It's been a long one. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us. It's been very enjoyable rolling with you guys day in and day out. And this is our last show. Don't forget, we have 4 p.m. CMAC and Babano doing their thing on the closing line show. And then we have our big football shows tomorrow, Saturday morning, college football at 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 to 12 kickoff show, and then Sunday morning at 11 a.m. All right, let's review action. Indians first 5. I plan on waiting. I think the Yankees money will come in, but that first 5 under 5, I do want to bet. The market move towards the Nationals is wild, and it makes me want to stay off. Daryl Turner says Stampeder win and Blue Bombers win are the CFL plays for me. I get that, Daryl. I get that a lot, but I think it's pretty noticeable that the sharp money's on Hamilton because the public always wants to fade a backup quarterback. And we saw what happened when it went down to 1. It moved back up immediately. It's like as if the Predators were just waiting for it to go down there. Stu Boo, thank you for the kind words, my man. The first 5 over 5, I'm interested in the Minnesota Toronto. I am interested in it. Then I got to stay off the Orioles, Red Sox. But I don't think Sale should be this big of a favorite. Rays -1.5. I do think that Mize they're going to go to the bullpen immediately, and the Rays need this win. I think they will get it. Marlins -1 is going to be on my card. I wish I got that first 5 at 5 in Mariners Royals, but I will probably move on it at 4.5. Padres Cardinals, I am off. The over in Athletics Angels, I'm very interested in. I just want to know who's pitching for the Angels. That hasn't come out yet. Then I'm going to tail half of Nolly's action, the first 5 under 4.5 in Dodgers Reds. A curb stomp play today, Michigan State +7 from Mike M. Let me copy and paste that. It's -3.5 on FanDuel, says Robert Cherry. Interesting. So then Nolly is on the full game under 7.5 in Phillies Mets. I'm going to move on the first 5 -0.5, and I might move on the first 5 under 4. Oh, a pitching change in Kansas City. Oh, wow. Okay, TJ. So it's not Singer. That changes a lot. Okay. We'll have to regroup and study that again. Then I'm going to be on the first 5 under 5 in Cubs Brewers. That's a tail of Nolly. I also want this tail Taint at -1.5. Then under 7.5, Nolly's on in the Braves Giants. I'm going to stay away from this game. I'm uncomfortable with that spot. In college football, I was planning on betting on UCF, but Razor Sharp picks Gambler's First Glance is on Louisville. So I'm going to watch his video and decide if I should stay off or tail Razor. Maryland, Illinois, I do need to really sit back with going back to Brandon Peters and figure out that spot. So I don't know what I'm going to do on Friday college football, and I might just focus on CFL. Nolly is on the under 50 in Cincinnati, Indiana. He's on the under 58.5 in Arkansas State, Washington. I love that breakdown. And Troy, Southern Miss, he's on the under 50.5. I think I'm going to move on the Ticats and the over in Calgary, Hamilton. And I'm already on the Roughriders -3. Ooh-wee! That was a battle. What a huge card we have. Thank you guys so much for joining and sticking with us. Jose, wherever you are, congratulations on yesterday's work. Thank you guys. We have no show without all these great cappers in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Marcelo says Cowboys to cover this week. Big NFL show on Sunday morning here. Brian Watson, Cheshire Cat R, Puzzler, Daryl Turner, Real Deal Prime, Robert Cherry, Nate Dogg, Stu Boo, Big Daddy Boom, Ick Schnizzle, Razor Sharp Picks, Trot Wham, Mally Mal, Johnny K, Deacon Mike, Eric Jang. All you guys, focus on your bets. Thank you guys so much for your support. But most importantly, let's get paid in full, baby. Lecce. Hey, Los bookmakers. Let's get that cash, please. Let's eat, baby. I want to see a little Lecce before we. I want to see a real Lecce. I want to see me